Hey, how's it going, everybody? I am Kyle from Fantasy Forge Studios. Oh, and we have music playing again. Oh my gosh. I thought I was going to have a session without any mishaps, but that's okay. I'm Kyle from Fantasy Forge Studios, and we are here with another session of Adventures of Middle-earth. D&D 5e campaign set in the world of Middle-earth between the years of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbits. We are joined by everybody today. It doesn't look like it, but we are joined by everybody today. But Jalen, via voice, it will be gracing us with her presence that way. But everyone is here, and we are ready for some adventures in the Mirkwood. So let's go ahead and jump into character introductions before we get going. So let's go ahead and start with Valinith.
Hisashiburi, everyone. Apologize for the last couple weeks, but I'm back with a vengeance. No, I'm excited to be back and enjoying some Adventure Middle-earth with you guys. I know Valinith is very he may not look it, but as an elf of Rivendell, he is doing everything he can to hold it together. Hopefully he doesn't have to heal anything aside from Baldur's sweet bum sores.
True that.
That's all.
True that. Theodric.
Hey everybody, I'm that Toby Australian. I play Theodric Grimborn, who is our very, very exhausted. He's a very tired, sleepy boy right now. All this walking and going off the path and worrying about certain irresponsible elves who left him feeling very, very upset. You know, it's taken its toll on him. But hopefully he'll get some sleep and he'll be back to 100%.
I love it. Jalen.
Hello, Spider-Fan33 in the Twitch chat, coming to you through the powers of the disembodied voice. I play Jalen Grimfold, the aspiring Lord of Freelands, and her lovely dog Rufus. Jalen is a very spunky character, but she may or may not be going insane right now. We shall have to see.
That is the question on everyone's minds, or at least going through everyone. Not necessarily whether Jalen's going crazy, but whether everybody's going crazy.
Jalen's seeing old men in her sleep. She is definitely crazy.
I think it's called dreaming. I guess elves don't really do that. So
we have elvish dreams. They're different. More like elvish contemplations.
And last but not least, we have Fedor.
Guys, I'm Nick, or LavaCrest in the chat, or LavaCrest187 over on Instagram where I do my art. I'm going to be playing Fëanor. He's a Mirkwood Slayer, a Mirkwood Elf Slayer, and he's just going to be assuming that Jalen has lost her mind, because everyone else seems to be. She's seeing people and not remembering what she's brought in her pack. God. I think she's going to have some prophetic visions of some dude she can't find. Let's see how this goes.
Did you say your name is LavaCrest187 on Instagram?
Yes, it is.
That's a follow.
Hmm.
There you go.
Already?
Cool, guys. See, I've got follows from Fantasy Forged. See, if only everyone could be as cool.
Well, I am Kyle, and I am the lore master of this game, the DM, there to play with and against our band of merry adventurers as they fight their way through the depths of Mirkwood and adventure throughout the wonderful land of Middle-earth that we all come to know and love. Let's go ahead and jump into a little bit of recap before, bringing us back in and focusing our attention to the craziness that just ensued. This group of adventurers, hired by Baldur, a merchant from Esgaroth, to basically guard and lead his caravan of goods through the Mirkwood, have made their way into the Mirkwood via the Elf Path. And by doing so, they are really starting to feel the pressures of what Mirkwood has to offer, such as being chased deeper into the woods by giant spiders, such as going for hunts and, starting to forget who you are, losing your mind, crazy dreams, crazy visions, all kinds of stuff going on here in Mirkwood. But with a little bit of some kind of and a lot of backstory. I will say that. That's one thing that I've really been enjoying about this time in Mirkwood. It's been a time of reflection, I think, for a lot of people. A lot of backstory, a lot of kind of some lore dump, which has been good. If you haven't seen those episodes, go check them out. They're super awesome. And yeah, it's a party. But towards the end of last session, Jalen and Feanor were visited by quite a famous traveler by the name of the Grey Pilgrim, the Wandering Wizard, or perhaps, well, what did
Mithrandir, as Valineth calls him.
Mithrandir, yeah, there you go, as Valineth calls him, or unexpected, unexpected guest of some kind. So, Gandalf, essentially. And so they were visited by Gandalf while they were keeping watch on the party 22 days into their adventure throughout this Mirkwood. And not only did he come at a very opportune moment, right when the group was starting to deal with lots of tiredness, especially on the part of Theodric, but really start to dive into points of weariness just in general from the road ahead and the travel and kind of the fast-paced marching and whatnot. And he came seemingly to speak specifically to Jalen and what her desires were, or at least her goals were, to find the Grey Pilgrim, to which she was not searching actively for him, as I have been reminded, but in fact he came to her and essentially told her, yeah, your road is long and there's a lot more to experience in life, and the things that you experience on the road, that's what you're looking for. I'm gonna go do something else over here, so hey, it was good catching up with you. And he gifted her a firework. But this was all seemingly but a dream, and Jalen was aroused from a deep slumber by Feanor during the watch, and as if everything was completely real, Gandalf, there was no trace of him to be found, with the exception of the firework that was gifted to him, with no fuse and Sindarin script written on it, found within her backpack. And I'm going to go ahead and hand the session over to my players.
Valineth and Theodric are still sleeping at this point?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Jalen, you need to calm down. Stop. You need to stop. Okay, and she's running away from me. Jalen, what are you going on about?
Look at this! Look at it! Feanor!
Keep your voice down. You don't want to wake
Feanor!
up. What are you trying to show me?
Look.
Yes, it's a small device of some, like, what is it?
Look! It's got Sindarin on Can you tell me what this means?
Okay, what does it say on it? Kyle?
In Sindarin it says, Naled Keen.
Oh no, Kyle, your mic. It's growling.
How
It's
about
growling
okay.
at us. Oh!
The buzz.
Uh-oh. It's snap,
the
crackle,
Sindarin.
poppin'.
Are you sure he wasn't speaking the black speech of Mordor?
Are we good?
ASMR, anyone?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay. It said, Naled Keen Emel, a Peninin Bonaur, which essentially translated into the common tongue is cry out your heart and set me on fire.
Oh, look, it's probably not important. Yeah, something about crying and setting it aflame.
Feanor, this is important.
Cry out your heart and set me alight, set me aflame. But why is this important? You still haven't explained. You seem surprised that it's there. Did you have a nightmare? Like,
You know what? You're not gonna believe me, are you?
well, if you would explain to me what's going on, then maybe I would. I haven't really been given a chance, have I?
Look, okay,
Mm-hmm.
we were keeping watch, right? You were doing your thing, I was doing my thing, and then we heard this cart come up the road, and we went to investigate, and there was this old man. Feanor, he told me he was the Grey Pilgrim.
Okay, the guy you've been looking for.
I haven't been looking for him.
Well, yeah,
Okay, I have been looking for
the guy
him.
that you haven't been looking for, but we're looking for by proxy. The guy you'd abandoned looking for, if we put it
Yes.
that way, comes down the road, and we what? Did we just talk to him? And now you have
Yes.
some mysterious package.
He
That
had
you
a
don't
very
recall.
in-depth conversation with us, and you actually gave me some really good advice during that conversation.
Yes, that does seem like something I would have done. Yes. What kind of advice did I give?
Uh,
I'm much more interested by the fact that I was in this dream.
we're in this. Well,
So it seemed
about,
entirely realistic. From what I understand of
Yeah, that's
men
why I'm so
and
confused.
dwarves, that
because
the dreams are more of an abstract of your memories and your feelings, as opposed to us elves who more just delve into our thoughts of the day.
look, that's why I'm so confused, Fainor. It's because it felt so real, and the next thing I know, you're shaking me awake and saying
Yeah,
it's only been what, 2
okay.
hours?
Yeah, I just went on my loop of the perimeter, checking out if I could see anything in the woods. I was gone probably only, 10, 15 minutes? You did seem like you were starting to doze off, though, but, I thought with Rufus here and with us chatting every now and then, you would have been doing okay, but I came back and you were asleep, and then you shot awake, like you'd been stung by, like, a bee or a wasp, and then you just sprinted off and only just now explained to me what's happening. Are you sure you're alright? You seem to, at the very least, think that this was very real.
It felt real. And
So I'm willing
okay,
to.
so
I'm willing to trust that at the very least, you fully believe that this occurred, and I can accept that. I'll trust you.
I know, I feel like I'm going insane. I feel
Well,
like
the odds are that that's probably the case, but like I said, I'm willing to trust you on this. Are you sure it wasn't just some kind of, I don't know, like, shape-shifting spider or something that was...
Why would a shape-shifting spider not eat me immediately?
I don't know, you seem to be dreaming. Maybe it was trying to lull you into a false sense of security. It appeared as an old man, you say?
Yes.
The Grey Pilgrim is... oh, whatever. I trust that.
He's a traveling fireworks merchant.
Why... What did you know about this Grey Pilgrim? Why would he have fireworks? Is a merchant? Why were you sent to find a merchant?
I don't know.
I guess not everyone is always that they appear to be. Maybe there is some deeper mystery to him that
He carried
that
so
we aren't
much
supposed to
with
know.
him. He had this look, this spark about him. He felt filled with hope, even in this place. He was traveling in the Mirkwood during the night. And what's more, he told me that it was the 1st of April. He knew exactly what day it was, Fainal.
Well, okay, just hear me out. Do you know what day it is?
Is it the 1st of April?
Is it the 1st of April? I can't hear you, Kyle.
Nope. Is he muted?
Kyle is gone.
Oh no.
I am the DM now.
How about now?
Oh no, I don't like this.
How about now?
Yeah, it is the.
Yeah,
it's
good,
not
you're
the.
good,
It is the 1st of April. Pranks. It's not April Fool.
Okay. So as
Oh my God! Is this just all an elaborate joke, Jalen?
What?
Well, it is the 1st of April. Is
You
this
know what? I had the exact same thought when I met him.
what? That this
I
old
literally
man is
asked
a
him if
prank?
I was being punked.
Oh. Well, look, perhaps, like I said, who knows, perhaps a long time ago, earlier on in our travels, you came across this item and only just now have you had a dream that's recalled it. Maybe there's something about the woods that's made you had this dream, something old and powerful. Or perhaps maybe this man really did come to you. But as long as you said that I gave good advice, and you said this man was calming, then I think perhaps that's as much as you should take from it. that if it gave you some sense of peace, then does it matter if it was a dream? I don't think so.
Jalen, are we good? Can you hear me? I'm going to have
Yes.
you make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh boy.
Starting off strong. Like,
It was all a dream. This is also a dream. It's Inception.
Don't dare deception me. It's 13.
13. You think about this for but a moment, contemplating if this really was a dream. From everything that you've experienced thus far in Mirkwood, most of it has seemed malevolent. Something about this, though, yeah, even if it was a dream, it left you with some kind of glimmer of hope. And with that being the case, you're holding on a little piece inside that perhaps this was a real experience, but if not a real experience, the feelings and everything that you're undergoing right now are very real.
Okay.
Well, do you
What?
think you're going to be able to continue on with your watch for the night, or do you think you need to head off? If you need to, I can take over till
I'm fine.
the watch changes. Okay, as long as you're feeling okay.
Yeah, I'm feeling really good, fam.
And with
I'm glad that there was at the very least a pleasant experience for you, and not a nightmare like I'd initially hoped. Well, thought of, not hoped. That was I misspoke.
Yeah, fam, that was a really weird thing to say.
Yes.
And with that being the case, yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Fano, are you gonna tell the others about this?
That a strange dream old man came and spoke to you, and it seemingly did occur, but there's no real evidence bar a small package that you have on yourself. If you don't want me to tell the others, then I suppose not. Doesn't seem to offer any tactical disadvantage for them to not know. I feel like this is more your spirit journey quest. So if you would like to share that information with them, then you feel free to. I'll respect your discretion.
I will. I just don't want you bringing it up when I haven't gotten the chance to explain everything.
Yeah, okay. Unless we are suddenly attacked by an old man in the middle of the woods in the next couple days, then I doubt it will come up. And if it does, it will be, I told you it was some evil, malevolent force. Some horrible dream.
He won't.
But other than that, I don't think it's going to be an issue.
Thanks for the vote of confidence, Fano.
Like I said, I trust you, and I'm willing to go to believe that it happened, if that's what you say.
Can I like see how like genuine Fano is being right now? Like he's not just
Make an
is
insight
he
check.
saying this in like a kind of patronizing way, or does he like genuinely think?
Make an insight check.
Well, if you said okay. I always lose the insight. There it is. 11.
11. Feanor, are you patronizing her by any means?
No, he's being genuine. He's maybe laying it on a little thick because he's been told that he's great at comforting people, so he's trying to really,
I forgot about
do that. He's like, yes, I believe you. Yes, Jalen, you're not insane, or if you are, I'm still supporting you emotionally. So he's not sure if it actually did happen or not, but if she's feeling better from it, then that's all that's important.
Okay, cool. Easy.
Speaking of dreaming old men, as this lively conversation kind of comes to a close, you hear a rustling from the tent that Baldur and Belgo share, and you can hear kind of a cough, and you can see that a hand kind of peeks out from behind one of the flaps, revealing the face of Baldor. He looks absolutely sleep deprived. He walks over to the two of you, kind of almost more waddles as he rubs his behind from his sores that he has, and he says, "Ugh, it's a little bit late to be having such lively conversation. Is everything okay?"
Yeah. Sorry.
Feanor takes like a big breath in and then like catches himself like, yes, no, everything's fine. Nothing eventful's happened this night. You should really try to lay down and get some rest. Why are you awake, by the way? Is it just some discomfort?
You see, it's been probably my 8th journey through these woods. And every time, the forest around me... Well, it's about this time that... Well, my dreams tend to become... not good. Nothing in particular, nothing really ever recurring too much, but I have seen what this wood does to people. And it's a matter of time before it gets to me. Between us, though, I just think I'm getting a little too old for this. And he, like, twists, and you can hear just, like, these, like, pops all through his back. Camping on the ground, I'm not quite built like I was used to.
You know, Baldur, you should actually, if you wake up in the middle of the night, thankfully I'm here, you know, your fitness trainer. You should run through some stretches. You should drink some water. You know, it's as much as you might feel a little stiff. You'll go to bed feeling some of the aches and pains going away. And yeah, age catches up with all of us, even us elves. As much as we retain our youthfulness, our dexterity, our ability to move around, you do begin to feel tired. At least that's how my father's explained it to me before.
I don't know how you elves do it. More than 60 years in this here Middle-earth, and my body's already feeling the aches and pains. My mind has seen more than I could hope to imagine. And, well, perhaps you're right. And he begins doing some of the stretches very painfully as he begins doing what you taught him. And he does so slowly, and you can see that he's starting to feel a little bit better. And he makes his way over to the cart to pull out his water skin. And he does, and he takes a drink of water, and he begins... Well, it seems we're almost out. I should probably save some for Belgo in the morning. It's unusual not seeing water, at least flowing this far into our journey. How are you all doing on your supply? And he gestures to you.
How are we doing?
Not
I have
great.
no idea.
Not great. So as far as your water consumption is, you have about 4 days before you actually need to refill to be completely out of water for everybody.
Well, to be fair, Baldur, we probably do need to try and find a spot to resupply at some point. Maybe when Valineth is awake and Jalen goes to sleep for the night, he and I can have a discussion about where any rivers or streams may be nearby, even if it is in the woods, and I can take Nim and I can at least make a few trips, or some of us can take a skirmish out into the woods and return.
Well, that's just the thing, and he's continuing some of his stretching. Usually about this time, and we've made pretty good pace, I think. We have run across, there is a stream that runs, and you know exactly the stream that actually he's talking about, Feanor. It's one that does cross the path. Actually, it's very much a stream. You can't really consider it a river, as most caravans can kind of cross over the top of it without much issue, to the point where like it doesn't even really require a bridge. But this is one that is used by hunters. This is one that is used, and from your kind of know-abouts, it's within a couple of days' travel. So I packed just enough to be able to make it towards that in order to restock, but if we do need to do so, well, we have traveled off the path in the past, but never before have I been met by Lindar or anybody who's been in the Elf King's halls about, well, the warnings about going off the path. There's something dark out there.
Yes, I do think that if anyone goes off the path, it'll probably be myself and I guess anyone else who volunteers. But really, I would prefer that we keep as many of us here as possible to make sure that nothing happens to you or Belgo, or there are strength in numbers and a security that, a feeling of safety that comes to one's mind when being around others. Part of the reason I think these woods have gotten so dangerous, when you're alone, you feel like you're losing your mind.
And I will say, thanks to you lot, you've at least kept this an entertaining adventure, perhaps dangerous, but yet I still feel comforted, knowing that you are at our backs and at our fronts. I do have faith and I do have hope we will make it through this wood in one piece. Yes, there's these darkening days in Mirkwood they are upon us. But I do see a light shedding from all of you, and he kind of leans over and looks at Jalen. In fact, I would say that this forest, this dreary, dark place, doesn't seem to be quite having the effect on some of us. I don't know. Again, maybe it's just my time and boredom getting to me, but I shall try to do what I can to catch up on some sleep for the morning ahead. I will do whatever I can to make sure that I'm fit for the morning training and for the adventure ahead.
Yes, I do think that maybe if you've had a more restless night, perhaps it'll just be some basic stretches and a little bit of aerobic, some running. But other than that, I think maybe we'll go a little bit easier on the training, considering the pace that we're traveling at.
Indeed. By the way, Theodoric Elowin. Sorry, I just asked something in the chat, so Elowin.
Thank you.
And with that, he goes and he makes his way into the tent and catches some Z's for the night. And the two of you finish off your basically your watch with nothing, no disturbances whatsoever. Not even so much as a creak from the forest surrounding you. You do end up eventually waking up Valineth, to which he does begin to take his watch. As Jalen,
Feanor will stay up until like the last 4 hours before they get up.
So it's about a 2-hour difference, and so you and Valineth will be there for 2 hours together. So.
Yep.
Oh, why? That was some good meditating. How's it going, Feanor? Anything new to report?
No. No, the night's been quiet and full of monsters. I'm sure you should probably read that book.
Full of terrors. Yes.
Yes.
And he jots it down. That's still very eloquent. I'll have to remember that.
The watch has been uneventful.
I see.
You won't believe it. Jalen nodded off in the middle of it, but I was still awake.
Well, she
sometimes
is only human after all, isn't that right? Poking him under his
that's like a little laugh. Yes. No. How was your rest?
Oh,
how are you actually feeling, Valineth? You seemed a little distant since I've returned.
The one thing about this forest, I've spent my time alone in my adventures up until I met this group and party, and of course, you all give me comfort in your company. However, I have been quite contemplative. I feel like I haven't been myself, especially the last couple days. I feel like because I'm going back through my notes and remembering so many things, I'm remembering things that I didn't even know that I did or that I remembered. However, I'm glad that I'm going over these things because it makes me appreciate what I have now. So I think I'm holding up a little bit better than that one over there. He points over to Theodoric.
Is Theodoric just like snoring? It's like soaring logs.
just like like
just dead to the world.
Completely out.
Feanor puts the blanket over him a little bit better. Like, yep.
But I don't know. I just think recently it's something I haven't really thought about in these 700 or so years of the life here in this Middle Earth. But mortality. Have you ever thought about it yourself, Feanor? You hang out with the simple folk, don't you?
Camera slow pan in on Feanor's face, as all you can see is fire and like a burning bridge, like as it's zooming in on him. Yeah, I guess a little bit. Being surrounded by the mortal folk. I guess you do think about death a little bit more often.
I guess it's something I've never really thought about. I actually had a little conversation with Jalen, and I've come to the conclusion that this must be what fear feels like. I don't like it, and I hope we can get over it soon enough. However, I will do my best to persevere for the party.
Have you ever killed a man, Valineth?
Oh, well,
Feanor's like looking off. He's not like looking at you. He's like looking off, like into the woods a little bit.
I've killed my fair share of squirrels and woodland critters of the sorts. People indeed. I guess the closest I've ever come was by shooting out a man's eye. But I try to be on the healing side of things as opposed to the life-taking side of things.
Yes, no, that does seem very much like you. Sometimes I know that maybe you recognize with this a little bit more is, life's so long. Like, it is strange being around so many when I am older than most. Yet I still don't feel like I'm like I've fully grown into being me.
Well, you are but a lad. Us elves don't really come into that until at least our 250th birthday, so you got a long ways to go, Feanor. I wouldn't worry too much about it.
I suppose, but I don't know. It's just strange. I feel very fortunate for you, Valineth, that you haven't really had to confront death before. It might sound hollow, but I'm grateful that it's something you're only just now having to think of. Something that you've been able to live a long life without really being confronted by. I suppose that itself is a comforting thought. That there are people who the concern of life and death is an afterthought.
Well, I have dealt with death before. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am a healer, and my mother was one of the chief healers under Sir Elrond or Master Elrond in Rivendell. So I have seen
mortality.
Oh, yes. I mean, I had a long conversation about this before. However, I haven't necessarily dealt with any death that's been close to me, per se. I've seen other people die, and I've seen others pass. Of course, being alive 700 years doesn't come without seeing the things of life. However, yes, I can agree with that sentiment, Feanor. It definitely is difficult, and I definitely haven't seen anyone die specifically in battle. I can't even imagine how gruesome that would be.
Yes. Do you think I'm pushing the others too hard?
Valineth thinks to himself a little bit.
I'm the one who set this pace, and I feel like I have to lead by example. I'm trying to take as many watches as I can. I'm trying to keep everyone safe. So if I push myself hard, it's not for naught. It's everyone else can see it.
Yeah.
Am I pushing them too much?
One thing I do know about you, Feanor, is you do have a pure heart. I know you're a young elf. You may be naive still in years. However, I don't see any malice in you. I can tell everything you do is for the betterment of others. And so I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing what you're doing. I know you're just trying to protect anyone. And if anyone knows about what's going on in this forest, it's you. So I think everyone is putting their trust in you. However, and I look over to Theodric, and I look over to the tent where Belgo is, and I'm assuming his father's off doing his squats or whatever he's doing in the corner, right?
He's already made his way back to bed.
Been a few.
Oh, he's made his way back. Okay, all right. And I make my way over. I mean, you and I mean, even for me, this is a little much, but I'm willing to push forward with it, of course, because again, only you know what is at stake. However, I feel recently tired, of course, but I don't feel as uneasy as I have been the last couple nights, I feel like it's just us in the forest again. At least until maybe things start catching up to us. I can't imagine we need to push this hard. I don't think Theodric's going to be able to hold out too much. And poor Belgo, I can't even imagine the poor young lad. So maybe, I don't know if you're necessarily pushing too hard. And I think everyone understands where you're coming from, but maybe starting in the morning, easing it up just a little bit. Maybe it will help put people's hearts a little bit more at ease if it's not such a dire situation. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, Feanor does like a little nod, and he looks towards Valeth and says, "It was a comfort to hear. I just get worried because even someone with the most noble of intentions can end up hurting those around them.
Well,
It can be a fine line to tread, especially with those who aren't familiar with the woods, with those who are having more difficulty. Like Theodric, he went off the path on his own and into a place that we know that he already wasn't particularly fond or really prepared to travel into, for the sake of the rest of us, for everyone else. And for that, I'm grateful. The fact that he was able to keep everyone safe while I was gone and keep us fed.
Yeah. Everyone's doing their best. I know that's the case. However, Feanor, please don't do anything rash. I know while you were gone, you were off doing noble things. And again, if it wasn't for your heroic actions, maybe we wouldn't be standing here. However, I know not necessarily me, I trust in you. And when 2 days passed, of course I was absolutely devastated, and I thought we had lost you for good. But I know, for example, Jalen, Theodric, I know, and Belgo, poor Belgo. It did do some mental damage to them, I will say. Again, being as long as lived as I am, I mean, people come and go. That's nothing new. But it doesn't hurt. It doesn't make it hurt any less. So I do ask that if you do go back off into the woods, don't do it rashly. And let's do our best to try to persuade the others as well. For example, Theodric, he tried to go after that pony that's left. He tried to go after Willow. And I'm glad that he never ended up, because I don't have the physical strength to hold him back. And I know when he's determined, there's not a lot that I can do other than talk words of wisdom. I feel like you're the only one who can really hold him back when that's the case. However, like you said, I don't know if he can really put up with this forest any longer. I think it is best if we stay together, regardless of what happens, even if we do hear things. I don't know. I just don't want to risk any of us. I think we're stronger in numbers and we're stronger together, and especially for Belgo's sake. I think we stand a better chance if we're all together, you know? At this point on. We're not that far away from getting out of this forest. We're not that far away. It's only a few more weeks.
We are starting to run low on water, but like I'm sure you've seen on your maps, there's a stream not far away.
Yeah.
My hope is that it hasn't run dry.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. With this, Valeth also pulls out his maps and he's like, "Oh yes. I see that," and shows Feanor. And
yeah.
Actually, I've been meaning to ask you. I know you've been gone and we've been moving at such a fast pace through here, but I don't have that much of information about this forest itself. So if you have anything from memory that you can help me make this a better map, better cartographer way, so if we do have to make our way through the elf path again, we stand a better chance.
Looking at the map, can I kind of run my finger over like the path that I think that I took based on like the directions I'm pretty sure I was heading? And it's like, actually, when I was gone, I moved through here, and I think, right about there is actually a tree that I actually used to center myself and really know where I was. It's one that actually had my initials carved into it. It's quite fortunate to find it, but the woods felt different. And is there anything that's like on our way that I'll be able to like recall from like my younger days, from doing patrols, from doing hunts in this area, like anywhere where there should be more dense like densely packed with animals, like actual proper hunting grounds? Is there anything like that in like within, let's say, like the next week traveling?
So as far as what you've experienced thus far, obviously you're unsure about what's up ahead, but thus far, the things that you've seen and diving into the forest, you have been completely drawn back by how different the forest is. It's almost completely different, like as if it's completely changed, even from months ago when you came through with Har and Snorri. It's incredible. There's a darkness that, and like an endless like underbrush that keeps like growing in towards the elf path. The elf path, however, is so far exactly how you remember it being. And most of what you remember upon this path is the different campsites that are evenly spread out, and that's actually how most of the elves track their distance and where they are based on the certain elf camps. And so based on the one that you're currently at, the next closest hunting ground is actually in the area that is around the stream that runs across the path. However, it's about a day and a half past that is where most of the hunting is. There's a couple of large herds of deer that often make their way through that, and it's kind of like if there were deer crossing signs, that would be the deer crossing sign. And so that area has a lot more wildlife as it is more centered inside Mirkwood, and there's less hunters that make their way out this way, with the exception of the elves. And they're so stealthy anyways, most deer don't know that they're being hunted when they are being hunted. So they see it as relatively safe.
I'll deliver that information to him.
And Valneth will take notes. By the way, quick lore master question. I know you mentioned like the magic river that goes like that puts people to sleep. That's really strong, powerful magic. Does it make its way this far out into Mirkwood?
I mean, you have no idea. From what
is it something elves are able to sense in a sense? For example, if they come upon a body of water, is it something that's apparent, or is it surprising?
So this is something that Feanor would probably be a little bit more familiar with. Okay. So kind of from Feanor's knowledge, the enchanted stream where that becomes a thing is it's controlled by Thranduil, kind of. And so he has some dominion over where it does flow, and he's used it to a really like vast degree to actually protect the borders of the Woodland Realm from goblin raids and whatnot and that's why it's mostly the border within the Woodland Realm. However, the nature itself does have a way of being able to control it to be able to move. Feanor, as far as you know, where you need to be wary is streams that appear that are unfamiliar. So if you're like in an area and there's just randomly now a new stream here, that's when you have to be more wary, and then you can start making things like Arcana checks and whatnot on that body of water.
But my question, more established streams and stuff, is that it's like, this has been here since I was 20.
Yeah. That was more my. Yeah, that was more my question, is like, do all the streams move around or just the enchanted stream?
Just the enchanted stream. And so you'll see here on the map, it's basically this little sucker that kind of curves around. So it actually has a way of changing like courses. It could even start going north up to the Withered Heath and like down. It's kind of crazy.
And if it makes it like a fork further up into the woods, it can like split across.
Yes. And so and it can even change in strength as well, so it can be just a trickling stream or it can be a raging river. The enchanted stream takes many forms.
Valneth jots that down and he says to Feanor, obviously you're the one who knows the most about this forest, and I apologize, young mon, but we're going to be relying on you a lot. You said you've been doing your best, and you said you've been pushing yourself, but even an elf can't take that for too long. So don't do the impossible. Do it at your own pace, of course. We're always here if you need anything. But don't push yourself too hard, but we will be relying on you. Don't overdo it. If you are feeling like this is too much for you, tell us. Tell us. Don't have pride. I mean, we elves are very prideful beings, I will say, and I have my fair share of that. However, this is no place for pride to get in the way of that. So, do your best that if you are feeling haggard, disheveled, maybe your mind's not in the place it needs to be, please tell us, and we'll do what we can to help.
Don't worry, I will. It offers no tactical advantage for me to be not at my best. Or at least as best as I can be. So don't worry. It is something that I've been thinking about, and yes, maybe I do need to think on my own limits more than just those of the others.
Yeah, well, I mean, I also think the things that you're good at and the things that you're really where you shine are very, very helpful to us. Obviously, you know, with not only with your tracking skills. However, you're no good in that if you overdo it. So again, within your own limits is when you're the most helpful to us. If you're overdoing it, it's just going to hurt us all, and that goes for everyone, not just you. You're the one who has the most to offer in this specific situation. So we'll do our best to take care of you. So please continue to take care of us, my friend.
I will. I'm actually going to. You might not have heard this last night, but when I sent Theodric off to bed, because he wanted to take watch, I told him that in the morning we were going to spar and we were going to see if he'd recovered some of his strength in not just the body but also the mind. So I hope no one gets hurt during it, but if maybe you're on standby. Just in case one of us gets a cheeky hit on the other one accidentally.
Oh, of course. I mean, that's what I'm here for. I mean, I don't have many skills to use, but one of them is healing. In fact, we've been moving at such a big pace, I need to take a look at Baldur's Tuchus. His right one, I know it's been hurting him, and I haven't had the time to really check it out as of late, so maybe I need to do that in the morning as well. But
maybe after his training.
Yeah, and I also do want to talk to Theodric a little bit. I might have something for him to help encourage him through this adventure and this journey throughout Mirkwood. So don't let me forget to bring that up to him.
I'll try not to. I've got nothing else that I really want to talk about. If you do, Valanath, we can keep talking about that. But other than that, I'm just gonna go and watch again.
I will. Well, you're going on watch. I thought you were going to bed. You need to sleep, don't you?
No, I think I've got probably another hour before I'll still get a full night's rest. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to push myself that far, but I wanted to make sure that I was aware. Like, I would have felt horrible if Jalen had had fallen asleep and something had happened to her. I'm glad that I was here. Rufus was still awake, so I'm sure that he would have barked or let us all know if something had happened, but...
Well, you know, he is the bear bait after all. So cool. However, Feanor, if you are going to be awake a little bit, and it's not too much to ask, I know I'm a master with a bow, however, and Valanath looks around and looks at, the spear on his back. My father is actually quite the spear wielder, but I just haven't had the physical prowess or endurance to really pick it up myself. Do you mind if every now and again you could help me learn how to be a better wielder of such things?
I don't see why not.
Don't overdo it.
Yes. I think maybe as part of the morning training, when we have Belgo and Baldur doing their not bow-related activities, where they can be more autonomous and maybe spend a little more time just working together, I can show you some of the ropes, and if I find some appropriate young wood, because you do need some young wood for this, we can look at, and I can craft you your own spear, and then we can harden it over the heat of the fire, and you'll have a pretty substantial weapon. But I don't mind showing you the ropes.
I would love to learn about the wild ways of the woodland folk. I've only known the uptight elven ways, high elven ways in order to wield a spear. I'd also like to pick Theodric's brain. I hear the men of the Mark are quite the men with spears as well. I'd love to learn that way as well. Although, of course, I'm not going to bother him right now. He's in no state.
Yes, I think that would be unfortunate. No, I am interested in Theodric's homeland. I've never been down into Rohan, but
yes, maybe after we show him some wild hobbits one of these days, we can go and visit him.
Yes, no, it would be interesting. I know that perhaps one day Nim will go back to the wood, whether that be he passes on or he decides that he just wants to return back to the life he had. But I don't think I would mind perhaps seeing if I could find a steed from Rohan, if that were ever the case. I don't think we would have the same bond, but Roderick seems to have served Theodric well over these many years, and they seem to have almost a kinship, so...
I
Seem like
agree.
very amazing beasts.
I myself would love a wonderful, amazing steed like that. However, I am not the horse master, so I can just admire from afar. I can just appreciate the beauty of the Rohirrim horse.
Mm.
Yes. Anyways, I think they're just going to take that as the opportunity.
And with that, all the while, through dreams of Gandalf, through conversations, through map making, through bonding, Theodric finds himself in a deep, deep slumber. He finds himself, coincidentally, away from the darkness that had been consuming his dreams. In fact, he finds himself in a familiar place. This is a place of wild majesty. Riding atop Barad-dûrc, he finds his way wading nearly chest deep, Barad-dûrc's chest deep, through fields of golden hay, or wheat, as it were. It looks familiar. Everything around him looks to be that of Rohan, but at the same time it has a strange aura of difference. You don't seem to know really exactly where you are, other than this has a vague presence of home. You continuously wade further and you walk. You're walking towards a hilltop. It's a hilltop that stands amongst, basically standing proud, and in the mountains, beautiful white mountains in the background. And you can see that built upon this hill is a city. It's a city made of blackened essentially palisades that surround the outside. And you can see sitting on top of such hill a dark, blackened longhouse. I'm going to have you make a wisdom saving throw for me.
Okie dokie.
Real dice or virtual today?
I'm going virtual, which I probably shouldn't be doing. Because they always seem to be the ones that screw me, but that was an 8.
8.
I'm busting out the real dice now.
You are drawn to this area, and Barad-dûrc seems almost instinctively walking towards it, and your eyes are lifted towards it. It is the middle of the day, and golden beams shine from above. There's no sense of... well, there's no ominous feelings coming from this area. And again, it feels familiar enough, yet stranger at the same time as you begin to approach slowly and slowly.
Can I make a lore check?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. That is a 11.
11. What are you trying to figure out?
As Lord Esmond's squire, I'm assuming that Theodric's traveled all over Rohan with him.
Yes.
Is this... is basically like... is this... Edoras? Or does he not recognize it at all?
It seems to be reminiscent of Edoras, but it's completely different. You don't see the white burial mounds of the kings of old that are outside the city walls. The palisades in Edoras, from what you can recall, are always freshly replaced every year. They're not treated with almost kind of this black burntness to it. It does rise up, but not quite as tall as the Golden Hall. Everything seems to be dingy, dark, kind of a false image of Edoras, as it were. But yet you're still drawn to this place.
Where am I? Where are we, Barad-dûrc? Where are we this time?
for but a moment, Baradarok does gesture to you, like almost in irritation, wanting you to bid him forward faster, as he begins to wait your orders for to move quicker towards this.
Okay, well, answers don't really come to people if you don't seek them, so, yeah.
You gallop, and you begin to clear these wheat fields, seemingly endless, as if farmers haven't been out here for ages to reap the harvest. And as you approach the gates of these palisades, you can see that this town is completely sacked. The front gates are burst inward, and you can tell that it's been freshly burnt, as you can smell human flesh. And you can, as you walk inside the gates, you can see that most of the thatch roofs have been burnt to a crisp. The Tudor walls and wood walls have been crumbled, and no life seems to exist within. You gaze upwards towards the main hall, the only building that seems to be fully intact, yet still in this black visage. And you see that the doors to this hall are opened wide for you to enter. You are brought with but a choice. Do you enter, or do you leave this place?
Well, that's quite the invitation right there. What do you think, Baradarok? Because, this doesn't look too inviting, to be honest.
Since the dream, can Broderick talk to him?
That's not what I was hoping.
What would Baradarok sound like?
I don't know.
He's a brown horse.
He speaks with this kind of accent. He
No.
Thank you very much. He is very aware of his bloodlines.
Absolutely not. I want to believe he sounds like the horse from The Horseman's Boy.
I don't know why, but you've just put it into my head that he sounds like George Takei from Star Trek. Oh my, Theodric, we should not be here.
This place is absolutely dreadful.
It is your horse. That could be exactly how it sounds like in your head. It's your dreams, after all.
But no,
Okay.
Is Baradarok
Stephen Fry?
still wanting me to go forward? Like, is he still eager to...
He is completely under your order on what you want to do. This, oddly enough, though, doesn't seem to faze him. He's not spooked at all by this, by just being in the presence of this town.
Okay, Theodric is going to dismount Baradarok and, check out the main hall.
So you walk up the stone stairs, and you find yourself, as you turn around, as you stand at the pinnacle of this city, and you see all around you what were once fields of gold are fields of barren waste, rolling hills of nothing. The mountains around have completely dissolved, so much to the point where they have become blackened as well. No more snowy white peaks, but instead a looming large mountain towers over you. These are desolate lands. As you turn back around and you enter the doorway, you do not enter what seems to be a wooden longhouse, essentially, but instead a cavern. You look amongst you, and you see that this is adorned with what looks to be decorations of the Rohirrim, but again, it is strange, and it seems ancient. And as you look forward all the way to the far end, you can see what looks to be a throne, standing upon with nobody but a shadowy visage that you can't make out who is. But essentially they're sitting with their arms that like standing, and you can see not a crown on this person's head, but essentially basically like this black form looking directly at you, or from what you can imagine, you feel it looking directly at you.
Theodric is going to approach this throne.
And as you do so, the voice calls, Theodric, son of warriors, you stand at the precipice of your destiny. Within you lies a tempest, a dormant fury that yearns to be unleashed. Embrace it, for only through the crucible of battle will you discover your true strength.
Who are you?
Who am I indeed? You, who are called the Grimborn. Tell me, why do they call you this?
Well, wherever I go, grim news seems to follow. People die, bad things happen.
I see. And he takes but a moment to think. Dive deep into the abyss of your battle rage, Theodric. Embrace the darkness that lurks within. It is not a force to be feared, but a power to be harnessed. Let it fuel every strike, your every move. Let it guide you through the shadows that seek to consume you.
The last time I gave in, I executed 2 innocent men. Well, not innocent, but 2 men when it wasn't my place to. If Fëanor hadn't stopped me, I would have strangled them with my own hands. I almost killed Law. This fury can't be controlled, and I'm not going to use it when I'm surrounded by my allies.
The figure stares at you blankly. Doesn't speak much. The two of you just wait in silence, almost to the point where it's eerie.
Theodric, the Grimborn. You say you cannot control the power from within, but your blood, your birthright, says otherwise. Who are you, Theodric? Questions that need answers. You stand here before me. You stand here before this throne. You stand before a mere shadow. This town is sacked. The lands beyond are desolate. Theodric, do you have the power to stop the coming shadow? Even if that means putting those that you love in harm's way.
I don't know. There's no point in stopping anything if I'm just going to hurt people to do it.
Indeed. Theodric. What you have deep within, what you bury deep within your soul, your very being, you have just reached but the surface of your capabilities. If you seek to control your power, perhaps in that journey, darkness will fall. Theodric, unleash your wrath upon the forces that dare challenge you. Let your battle rage be a beacon of defiance against the encroaching darkness. Rise. Rise, Theodric, and conquer the shadow that threatens to consume all that is good.
And with that, everything starts to fade. And you can see this visage of this grand hall that you are in dissipate, giving way to you standing upon these plagued fields, Baradarak at your side. And rising up in front is a dark mountain. And from within the depths, you can hear a shadow, or not hear a shadow, you can see a shadow move within. And you hear a deep, long, drawn,
I'm waiting.
Well, that's ominous.
and with that, you awake from your dream. But first, Theodric, I'm going to have you make a wisdom saving throw for me, followed... Oh, not wisdom saving throw. A constitution saving throw.
I have a question
Yes.
before you roll. Would it be possible? Okay. Hypothetical. Okay. Would it be possible for Jalen to have woken up first, so I can use my bardic inspiration on a sleeping Theodric?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially what's going on here, so what this roll is it's if he can get the full hours of sleep for the night, so he can recover a point of exhaustion. And
Yeah,
so...
that's what I thought.
Yes, you absolutely would have been able to wake up to
Using
the-
physical dice. Let's pray he
Excellent.
doesn't
Okay.
wake me up.
She plays
Wait,
on the moon while
Wait,
we're
let me inspire you, okay?
Okay.
For the record, I wrote
Dazzle
this
me.
before you had your weird dream sequence. Okay, so as the sun rises, so too must you. To finish the mission you set off to do. So rise with the dawn, the sky and the birds. And take care, my friend. And let my care for you be heard.
Aw, that was great.
And
I was gonna
as-
ask if I can make a wisdom saving throw just myself after that freaking performance, but I'm good now. My heart's healed.
Yeah.
Feanor hearing Jalen do this little song goes, "Oh, cute."
but with this, I'm gonna have Theodric go ahead and make his Constitution saving throw with your inspiration, and that's what, a D6 on top?
I believe it is.
I think it's a D6.
Okay.
Very good.
Let me just find the right dice.
And with that, I believe that affects everybody within the area. Then that lasts
Yo.
for the next 10 minutes.
No. It's just a creature other than you within 60 feet. I can hear. Yeah, it is a D6 for the inspiration.
That is 29 plus.
You can wait until after you roll a D20.
That is a. Wait, so does inspiration just give me a D6 or?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can, you don't have to use it. You can wait.
It is one of those things you're allowed to do after you see the results of the roll, is it not?
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah, that's-
it is. You are correct.
that-
Nick. That was
That is a 13.
13. Immediately, as this shadow calls that it is waiting for you, you hear these words, and immediately the desolate lands around you begin to turn to golden fields once again. And as you sleep and you draw restlessly, you look towards the sun, and as if it is calling you towards it, and immediately you wake up, you recover 1 point of exhaustion from yourself as you are able
Excellent.
to get the full sleep. And during this time, everybody is in full training mode out at the campsite.
Also, I did use the inspiration, just so you know. For the sake of transparency, that was with the inspiration, so thank you,
Oh, yeah.
Spider.
You are very welcome.
I think that was actually a very lovely little song. As
It
well.
was
I
nice.
think that was great. It's like, and like the image of like him in this like dark, terrible dream, surrounded by all this like shadow, and then, you know, maybe it's just my little animator mind running wild, but imagining like just cutting into the dream while he's still in it, hearing those words. And so he wakes up not quite as disoriented as he would have, and it's like it just seems very like very beautiful.
Valineth thought he was beset by woe. It's just,
He's not.
Okay.
doesn't
That was
envy
really good.
Theodric.
As much as I made like a little, oh, that's cute. It's like genuinely, that was very sweet.
I mean,
That-
it is cute. That's what it was.
It was
supposed
cute.
to be.
Like I understand. Like genuinely though, I thought that was very, very great.
Valineth sees
Good.
Theodric get up from his slumber and he's like, "Ah ha ha huzzah! The sleeping one awakes."
You still
He's
feel
doing
tired,
well, like all-
Theodric. You still feel tired, Theodric, but not nearly as tired. Actually, this was a good night of sleep. Oddly enough.
I feel better. Not amazing, but I feel quite better.
Valineth walks over to Theodric and gives him a good old pat on the shoulder. "Good to have you with us. I hope that sleep helped. I do have something to give you some light in these dark times." And he reaches into his bag and he pulls out a king's cup and he hands it over to him. I don't know, it's a necklace, I guess. You can put it under his armor. "This might look a little flowery for you, however, hopefully it gives you hope when you need it. So when you want to activate it, you can roll 1d4 plus 1's worth, and then however many days it gives you extra stuff. So just look up King Cup, and then that is now
I think
yours.
it's 1d4 days, and so when you
Yeah.
activate it, we will roll a d4. I'll roll it here on Vorpal board, and then you get 1d4 plus 1 to all of your
Yeah,
rolls
so-
for that amount of time.
So minimum of 2, maximum of 5.
So that's how many days it's active, and it gives you like not re-rolls, but like added bonuses to like your attack rolls, to your actual normal rolls. So
Well,
Hopefully
my
it
thanks, Valineth. I thank you for such a gift.
you've been having a hard time, I can see, and you've sacrificed quite a bit for us here in our party. However, I do ask you don't go into that forest alone anymore. If we're gonna leave the trail, I feel we should do it together. If we're gonna be doing it, we can't
Yes.
ask you to do that.
I'm
on your
not
own
going
again.
to be making that mistake again. It was
Fine.
it was terrifying enough the first time that I don't really want to repeat.
Glad to hear, buddy. Glad to hear. Well, we're training right now. I don't know if you are feeling well enough to be able to help out the youngins. I guess technically you're a youngin.
I
But
mean-
if you want to help,
I've been sleeping for the past 2 or 3 days a lot, so stretching my muscles out seems like a good idea.
and in the meantime, I have a date with an old man's rump. And he goes and attempts to take a look at Baldor's sore butt to see if he can heal it.
Theodric turns to whoever's in hearing and just like, we've got to teach him about phrasing. Like,
I imagine with sorry, yeah, you keep going.
we need to teach him about phrasing. Really, we do.
I think the way we've got it up, the only one who would be nearby would probably be Jalen, because she would have been packing up camp while Valineth and Feanor were training Baldo. So
Checks out.
Okay, well then Theodric has turned to Jalen. We've got to teach him about phrasing. Because
No, I think he's pretty good on the puns already.
puns, yes.
Yeah, puns and thighs.
And in the background, Valineth is calling out to Baldur. All right, drop your drawers, sir. Time for the treatment.
You see, like, tell me that we don't need to try and deal with that a little bit.
Feanor's like a little bit further away with Belgo, showing him like just like some basic like punches, like, you know, just in the air, some like little bit of shadow boxing. But he hears the drop your drawers, and he kind of like looks over, like, what is going? Oh my god!
Yeah, then
Belgo, maybe you've heard. Just what's that over in the woods?
Valineth, make a medicine check for me.
I mean, even if it doesn't help, we don't want sore buttocks, you know?
Don't want
That's
to
what
get
he's
worse.
here for. Yeah. You don't
Just
want to get the infected.
Just a Theodric, Jalen will just say, I think he's been away from Rivendell too long.
Oh, it's a 25. It's a 25.
Maybe? Do you think all Rivendell elves are so...
I know for a
literal
fact
and
that
blunt?
they're not, mate.
Okay. So it's just a Valineth thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
How would you feel about heading west?
I mean, after Mirkwood, I'm happy to go anywhere else.
I'd be pretty keen for a trip to home, to be honest. I have a friend in Rivendell. I want to see how he's doing.
And with that,
Anyway.
yes. I love it. Actually, this is good. FYI, a couple of things that you can do as far as mechanical stuff is during fellowship phases, you can actually take the opportunity for a fellowship phase, depending on how long it is, to go and travel. So, like, for example, let's just say you make it to Woodman Town at the very end of this, and Jalen, you're like, I don't have much to do here. I don't really have a desire to be here. I want to head back to Bree for a brief period of time, and then you can actually make that journey as part of the fellowship phase to do whatever you want before coming back and joining before the next adventure. So that's something,
That's cool.
FYI, that you can do for that. So you're not stuck in your location.
That's
Could
like
I-
an interesting thing.
Yes?
I didn't hear what Nick said.
It's all good. It's all good. I just said it was interesting.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. Because I'd be pretty keen to, like, take the rest of the party with me, and I don't know if that would constitute as a fellowship phase.
It would. Basically everyone would have to be kind of on the same page as that,
Yeah.
as far as like the travel goes.
Yeah.
But you, at the same time, it's kind of a give and take too, because wherever you do end up, as at the beginning of your fellowship phase, there's a number of things you could do, such as opening it as a sanctuary, such as, you know, improving your diplomatic kind of stuff. Some things actually are story driven that do happen at certain places, so it just kind of depends on what you all want to do. And if that is the case when we talk about the fellowship phase, I'll talk about that with all of you guys as a group to see what we can do to make it work. So
Okay, easy. Yeah. Talk about it later.
Yeah. Theodric, Feanor spoke to him the night before about coming to spar with him before we set off for our day to check if he was back up in his spirits and feeling better. So I think that's something else that we still got to do.
you absolutely you can definitely see that he still seems tired, but with that, I'm going to have both of you make athletics checks against each other.
Okay. Athletics.
I'm assuming that ointment was applied well with the 25.
With the 25, Valineth, as they're sparring and you're checking out his rump. Actually, one thing that you've noticed is his wounds within the night of sleep have almost completely healed. What you were able to treat it to the point, and you've been spending a couple of days actually getting rid of the start of infection. And with that being rid of and the wound starting to heal up, it seems that he is on the mend.
Nice.
I got a 9 and Theodric got a 20.
20.
Something about this rest that he's gotten has stirred some kind of sense of vigor into him. And actually, Theodric, as you begin sparring, as you begin training, you feel at first a little bit tired and a little bit apprehensive about swinging your sword, but immediately your strength begins to take over, and it's not necessarily a rage or bloodlust that you drive into, but almost this like heightened focus. And as you do so, and you with each blow that strikes, this is something that Feanor is kind of like bewildered about as you just come at him full strength, as if it's less of a sparring session and more of let me show you what I got.
Can Feanor actually seeing this? Can I do like maybe an insight or something to see if there is any hint of like that rage or something? Because I've talked about Feanor enters his like almost battle focus, and he's seen glimpses, and especially on the stage where like Theodore couldn't control it. He wants to like see if this is that or if this is different.
Make an insight check for me.
Fair.
17.
17. It's glimmers. The one thing that you do see, though, is he does not seem destined to want to harm you, but it's more of a of a desire to prove himself.
He's giving into the shadow. I like it. I like it.
It was definitely Feanor probably feels a little bit relieved by this, because it was this was supposed to, it wasn't supposed to be a full fight. It was a test, but it was a test to see if Theodric's, not even necessarily his strength, but his like mental capacities. Like, he isn't just, okay, the first time he gets in a fight, he kind of blood gets pumping and he's lost it. No, this seems more controlled, more sure of himself than I have seen him.
Yep.
So that, yeah. Well, Theodric, you certainly seem to be pretty on the mend.
Yes, I had a good night's sleep, weird dreams aside. Best sleep I've had since coming into this godforsaken forest. No offense.
No, I will say, when you say weird dreams, there is a very noticeable, like, almost like squinting of the eyes of Feanor looking at you, and he just kind of like looks off at like everyone else, like, never mind.
Did Theodric notice that? Do I?
This isn't hidden at all.
Okay, yeah, you do know.
This is very clear, almost like, what's like? Feanor's thinking, did everyone have horrible dreams?
Are you okay, Feanor? You look
No, this is everything's fine. It's a few people woke up during the night, from dreams and restlessness, but it's not the matter. I was just thinking maybe this wood's getting to people a little bit more than I thought it was. But you seem to be doing fine. I won't oppose if you want to start taking more watches during our travel forward. We're going to be traveling at our regular pace today, I think.
okay.
At least for a couple days.
I think I should be fine from here.
I'm glad that you took the time to rest, and that you trusted me enough to actually rest when I suggested it.
Yes, well, I realized being stubborn wasn't exactly going to get us anywhere. So
yes. Like any horse after a battle, you have to give it time to rest, or else it is just going to go lame.
True enough.
Feanor gives him a big slap on the shoulder. Come on, let's help them finish with the packing up, or else we're going to be here all day.
And with that, you do. You get everything all packed up and you make your way. And as this is probably one of the brighter mornings that all of you have had as you begun venturing on towards seemingly even just a little bit of change of scenery from a stream. Throughout this, Baldur basically has told Belgo, "Oh, we're almost there. Just make sure to conserve your water and all that kind of stuff." And Belgo's like, "Oh, I can't wait to splash around in the water. Oh, this is one of my favorite parts. Usually when we're making our way back through the Mirkwood, this is the part where we can all bathe. Finally! I'm usually not a big fan of baths, but there's something about this forest that just makes me so stinky." And he just like goes on and on about like all of this, about how excited he is for the stream.
Feanor had from 30 feet away goes, "Oh, you're right, Belgo. I can smell you from here. Oh God. Oh, you smell worse than the horses. My elf nose can pick it up from. Bro, maybe the training. Perhaps he's already becoming a man. He's starting to smell like one."
Well, you are training me to become a man. And my dad, too. You're training him to become a man as well. And Baldur...
Yes, but he smells fine.
Duh! You have to work harder to get man smell. I'm becoming a man. You gotta be more of a man, okay? Train harder.
I think that's the medicated ointment, young one. It smells quite pleasant.
Oh. I don't know what that is, but all I know is that we're improving a lot. And you continue onwards down the path, and not a lot has changed. Again, it's one of those things where day after day, it just seems arduous. And the day that started off so good has begun to drag on and on and on. Which brings you to setting up camp at the side of the road, and within tomorrow's reach, there should be a stream for you to be able to refill your water. You set up camp for the night, and you begin kind of dispensing the food. The food is okay, but you really all have started to realize that your water supplies are really dwindling. But first and foremost, I'm going to have each of you roll for me a d6 and tell me your results.
I rolled a 1.
1, okay.
Dominic rolled a 3.
Okay.
I also rolled a 1.
Okay.
And Theodric got a 4.
So in that time, you all, both Feanor and Jalen, you consumed 6 rations within the last time that you were able. I mean, you've been on the road for a little bit. You haven't rolled that in a couple of days.
Yeah.
Theodric, you have consumed 3 rations, and Valnith, what was your roll?
I rolled a 3.
3 rations as well. With that, your packs feel a little bit lighter, but I'm assuming the food is still okay as far as all that's concerned.
Are we breaking into our personal rations, or are we breaking into still going through the... Because if we're going personal rations, I think Valnith's out at this point, so...
You can start breaking into the... I've got 23 rations on me still, even after what I've just taken.
Oh, okay. No, Valnith just used the last of his normal rations, so...
If you want, you can just add 10, and I'll just take 10 from mine. And
Okay.
so there's no messing around with all the communal one. It's just straight up, you've got 10 more rations.
Cool. I appreciate it.
So I have 3 rations. How many did you say? 8?
6.
6.
Okay, that's a lot of rations. Okay,
You're
so I
hungry.
mark off 3 rations for me.
It's all good. You are hungry.
Add another 3. I'll give you 3 of mine.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Thanor. I appreciate it. This bear meat's really growing on me.
Just don't look at the fuzz that's starting to appear on the edges of it. No.
Valnith just...
While we're sort of gathered around in a nice little circle,
As I'm passing around parcels of meat to people.
yeah, literally. Maybe even after people have eaten and satisfied. Jenna's just gonna sit down and
I like it.
after some pensive thought, we'll reach into her backpack, pull out the mysterious firework, and she hands it to Valineth, actually, and she just says, Valineth.
Why, yes, what is this?
I don't want to tell you, I just want you to tell me what you think about it.
Oh, Valnith
Make
looks at it.
a lore check for me.
He ponders it. He's like, yes, of course.
Ponder
Why,
the
of course. Oh, lore check, you said?
Yeah.
Or not, lore. Tradition? Is lore an actual thing? Or is it traditions?
I believe it is.
Yeah,
I
lore.
believe we have
Actual thing.
lore and
That's a natural 1 for a 3.
damn.
Oh, yeah, Kyle, they're both an int-based thing, so I think that might be where you... But yeah, they are the same.
Yeah.
Like they are different. Sorry.
Cool. You take one look at this and you're just like, cry out your heart and set me on fire.
Wow, did you write that, Jalen? How poetic.
It's in Sindarin, so that'd be impressive.
That's what I'm saying. Wow.
Maybe she was listening in on all the lessons that you were giving to Belgo.
That's what I was
Yeah, I
thinking. Wow,
definitely
you're
was.
taking diligent notes.
I didn't carve this.
Oh, where did you get this then?
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
last night,
Mm-hmm.
God, this sounds ridiculous, but last night I had a dream.
Yes.
At this, Theodric's ears perk up and he slowly turns in his saddle.
I like to think that that's partially because he saw my reaction, like going, "What?"
Look, I don't know for sure it was a dream because while I was experiencing whatever this was, it didn't feel like a dream. So, from my perspective, me and Fainal were on watch, and this rickety old cart comes up the path, which I thought was extremely concerning because it was in the middle of the night. And this guy starts talking to me, and he tells me that it's the 1st of April, that he's a great pilgrim, that he's just traveling through Mirkwood, just casually on a saunter.
At the mention of the Grey Pilgrim, would Valnith know about that?
So
Yes, you've asked this before. You know who Gandalf is.
So,
Well, yeah,
So
but-
so I will say one thing, Valinith. You know who Gandalf is, but you don't know really who he is and his necessarily his importance to the world. The things that I will say that you do know of Gandalf from what you've heard is he is a popular fireworks maker, specifically cherished or beloved in the Shire and also in Bree. But he does travel to and from. He's called the Grey Pilgrim because he's known as a wanderer, and you know that he is considered amongst the wise and will on occasion have meetings with Elrond, and he will show up and then be gone without a trace. You don't know much more than that, other than you know him.
But he would recognize the name Grey Pilgrim.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Anyways,
One of
continue,
those who
Jalen.
knows of him but doesn't know him.
Yeah.
Okay, so naturally I lose my mind because I have been searching / not searching for this guy for
Yes.
months. So then, he comes into camp, sits down, pulls up a stump, and we have this really great conversation that Fainal was involved with. And
Oh, really?
yes,
I look at Valinith and I just do this.
he was very. Don't give me that, Fainal. Okay, let me just
Can I
finish
do it
telling the
subtly
story.
so
Okay.
she doesn't notice? Like,
You know what? There was weed involved, so you might not remember. No, I'm just gonna finish telling the story. Okay,
Yes,
so, so anyway, we finished having this really great conversation. He gives me that, and then he leaves. And then the watch is over, and I go to bed. And the next thing I know, Fanor's waking me up, and he says it's only been like 15 or 10 minutes.
Well,
There's no sign that there was ever a cart there. The stump was back to its original position, and that firework was in my bag.
why, yes. Well, if what you say is what you recall, and you do have this firework, I believe you, Jalen. Actually, I do. I don't know of this Grey Pilgrim you speak of. However, I have heard of him, and I have seen him from afar. The only thing I do know about him is that he oftentimes, he's very famous for his fireworks. He oftentimes comes and has counsel with Rivendell, but he leaves just as soonly as he comes, or just as quickly as he comes. So maybe this is one of those instances where he was there, but then he was not. Fickle thing old men are. Do I know he's a wizard?
Yeah. Kind
Fickle thing wizards are. fickle thing. I mean, of course I know the magics of this world, but that confuses me in itself. However, with this, you have this, right? And it is in Sindarin. It makes a lot more sense. I don't know the purpose of this, but I believe you.
Alright.
Nice.
Well, if we're going to be talking about dreams, I had a strange dream as well last night.
Why? This is story time, isn't it? I love it.
Before we start, Valinus, did you have any weird dreams last night?
Oh,
Because Theodric told me he had a weird dream, and Jalen told me she had a weird dream.
Belgo raises
Did you
his
have
hand.
weird dreams?
Belgo raises his hand. I had a dream once.
What?
I feel like you might have something very deep and impactful to add to the conversation. Belgo, let's listen to what you have to say. Sorry, Theodric, we need
I had a
we need to hear what it.
I had a dream where I was malicious, mean, and scary. Well, my sneer could curdle dairy.
Yes, that's it. That seems very, very terrible. Could you please go into more detail?
Okay.
He does give.
I'm
Theodric
losing it, guys. I'm losing it over here. I'm actually dying.
oh, you love Belgo, don't
Okay.
we? All right, Drake.
Continue.
Yes.
But no, I awoke in the plains of Rohan. And before me lay a large town, much like Edoras, but it was all burnt and sacked. And the more I traveled in, the worse it got. And eventually I ended up in a cave decorated with the crests and flags of Rohan. Which,
That's
you know,
pretty morbid.
it was very morbid. And there was a shadowy figure on a throne, and he told me to give in to my rage and be the tempest that swept aside the shadows.
I feel like that's not a good thing.
Oh no, he had a very scary and deep voice, and you know,
Did you recognize this figure by perchance?
no, and he refused to say who he was. And anyone telling me to give in to rage is probably not, you know, somebody I really want to listen to. But yeah, he told me to give in to my rage and embrace true power, conquer the shadow. I don't know. None of it sounded good. None of it sounded good.
Can Valineth make a shadow lore something check about this or whatever?
Go ahead.
All right. He's gonna do stuff. Shadow lore. You want me to do?
Yep, Shadow Lore.
It's a natural 1 for a 3.
No way! You're finally
Twice in a
paying
row?
for it.
It's catching me. It's catching up to me.
That's weird. And that's the exact same roll as last time.
Yep, it's literally the exact same roll as last time.
That's fun.
So no, I'm
Actually,
assuming no.
Can I assist this by talking about what I noticed about him in the training? Being like, yes, this morning you did seem to be a little bit more. I don't know. You seemed very on edge, and this morning I could feel those sparks of this anger that I've seen in you, but you seem to almost have more control of it. If this figure was telling you to embrace it, you were at your best, I felt this morning, that I've seen you in a while. I don't know if this is really something, perhaps something to ponder and to think on, but maybe something to think on deeply before you act on it.
Well, yes, I didn't plan on really acting on it because, you know, bad things tend to happen when I give in to that rage. When I,
Everyone is,
as you've seen.
everyone has a gift. Like a true gift, they can be for the better, or they can be good, they can be bad. But one should not just cast it aside. Think on it deeply, think on your dream. Think of what you saw and what you heard. And there may be a time in the future where you embrace your rage. Not for dark tidings, but in a moment of passion, a moment of deep love for someone that you care for. Rage is like
A box of chocolates.
it's like a forge, And you're
A forge.
No,
I like
it-
that.
No. Rage is like a piece of metal, someone forging a sword. It can be quenched by compassion, or it can be fed into the flames and melt to nothing. But rage can be useful. That is all I'm going to say. Just think on it. It's not always a bad thing.
Well, I thank you for that, Feanor. But yes, I was then like transported outside of a large, dark mountain, and another voice said that they were waiting for me.
Oh, let's make a Shadow Lord check on that.
Yikes.
And then I
Did you
heard.
recognize the mountain at all?
Make a Shadow Lord check, Valineth. Yes. Actually, after he completes his story.
Okay, yeah.
Get the
I'll wait.
context.
Yes.
Do I recognize the mountain?
You do not. It's completely foreign.
No-
but
no,
you can
I-
describe it a little bit.
No, but it was huge and kind of loomed over everything.
Like most mountains, yes.
Yes. But no, I don't remember because much else. Because after that, I heard singing and I woke up.
Make Shadow Lord check, Valineth.
All right.
Can I try and pry a little bit more information out of Theodric?
That's a 17.
My goal is to see if it compares to the voice I heard when I was back in Greenland.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to do so. But first, Valineth.
Yeah.
So you hear about this. You hear about this kind of voice that's essentially the "I'm waiting" voice, coming from basically like this within this mountain, and your mind races through a number of things. You know a lot of lore, particularly about Eriador, but a lot of it where you have kind of come, especially for some of like the more dangerous places in Middle Earth, is from your father. However, this description of what Theodric gave you does actually ring some sort of a bell. When you were in the Vales of Gundabad, you had a very similar experience. You didn't necessarily hear anything calling towards you, but you remember standing upon desolate hilltops. You remember gazing at a large mountain that looms over you. The mountain by the name of Mount Gundabad. But where you, Valineth, or where Theodric's story ends there, Valineth, you can recall the sound of distant wolves, and you can see mist just covering everything. So your view of what you saw, Valineth, is much worse than Theodric's description of it, of what he saw.
Okay. Valineth, quickly upon hearing this mountain, as Theodric's continue to talk, he actually opens his notebook and he like goes back, like hearing that this like catches a like sounds super familiar, and he turns to the page where when he had visited Mount Gundabad, and he just begins reading from his journal. This is the first time, by the way, aside from humans are animals. Aside from that, this is the first time Valineth actually read from his journal to people in public, and he starts reading the description that he jotted down, and he took notes about Mount Gundabad being at the base of the mountain with wolves sounding in the like the ominous look of it, and wolves sounding or wargs sounding in the distance, and
one last
mist.
thing that you did notice too, Valineth, is it seemed empty.
And empty is how he ends it, and he doesn't know why, and he closes his eyes and he closes his notebook. After this is all done, he says, "I don't know if this is what you're thinking of, or this is what you saw. It sounds different in a way, but I can't help but think that this is similar in a sense, even if it's not the same mountain. In nature, it seems similar. I would be wary, Theodric, about this."
Yes, it does seem to sound quite close to what I saw in my dream.
Hmm.
Though somehow I don't think it was as empty in my dreams as it was when you saw it.
Well,
You
you
had
said
my
it
soul.
was, how to say, ancient symbols of Rohan and ancient things. So maybe it was the future of sorts. Is this a prophecy of what's to come? And Valinith ponders and he really thinks, and he spends the next so little bit, not even talking with anyone, just like contemplating and going through his notes and just thinking. So he's gonna seclude himself a little bit.
Theodric, when this voice spoke to you, what did it feel like?
It was ancient and raspy, and I don't know. It tried to sound familiar and encouraging. Wait, are you talking about the one that came from the mountain or the shadowy figure on the throne?
Are they different?
Yes, they were different. The one that came from the mountain just sounded terrifying and not at all friendly. The one from the cave that was telling me to give in to my anger sounded not fatherly, but encouraging in a warped and twisted sort of way. Kind of like an uncle or something trying to give you advice that you know's not quite right. If that makes sense.
It does. It does make sense. Yeah, Kyle, the voice from the mountains ringing any bells for me?
I mean, other than the fact that you yourself heard a really creepy voice, it's difficult to tell from the specific experience of what Theodric had without actually physically being there. Like, even with as many eloquent words as possible, the one thing that rings true in you is, one, you were very awake during when you were experiencing this back in the Barrow Downs. But at the same time, too, it wasn't a voice that was protruding from something. It was a voice within. It was almost kind of like something was like speaking to your mind back when you heard it. That's not necessarily exactly what you picked up. From what it sounds from Theodric, it sounded like something was emanating from the mountain. Something was emanating from this shadow creature.
Okay, cool. Yeah. It's all good. Alright, I'll just ponder this information.
All the pondering. I
All
love
the
it.
pondering, yeah. All into like this really awkward silence as I just like think about what Theodric went through.
Yeah, this is the first time, well, not the first time, but one of the only times Valdeth has really been serious about, like, not necessarily showing his chipperness, but really just focused on the activity at hand.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
With that, Theodric's going to turn to Feanor and be like, Feanor, I know elves don't exactly sleep the way humans do, but do you know anything about the Mirkwood, I don't know, giving people weird dreams or anything like that? Maybe we ate some bad mushrooms, or the deer wasn't all that great.
Would I kind of like? Is this something like I know that the Mirkwood has kind of magical properties. You know, even if that's just from King Thranduil's effect on it, to the fact that it is like a giant living being almost.
So the things that
maybe even hearing stories of like Ents and stuff in those, but like, yeah.
The things that you do know is exactly that the forest itself is alive. And Thranduil does have an effect on it to a certain degree, but only within his own realm. And so the experience of everybody outside on this path, there is in more recent years, but from what you can remember, there has always been kind of like this looming, like picking at your brain. And the elves train themselves, the elves in Thranduil's halls, they train themselves to block that out. You're essentially taught to, when you're becoming a hunter, when you're traveling through Mirkwood, that there is a shadow that exists within. There's a reason it's called Mirkwood, and it's no longer the Greenwood that it used to be. There's an evil that taints Mirkwood, and from what you generally have known, it's been creeping its way up from the mountains of Mirkwood, which is just to the south of the Woodland Realm, and all you know is it's oftentimes these voices, these things that you're seeing, these dreams, tend to be visages of shadow that you've been taught to block out. And fortunately for elves, you don't really sleep, so you can't really experience that too much.
Well, Theodric, you are correct. Elves go into more of a recollection. It's a type of dreaming, but not really the same. It might seem like a strange concept, but the Mirkwood is alive. Think of it as a creature as old as the earth itself. In my training as I was younger, I was taught to ignore almost a shadow that exists here in the woods. There was a time when the Mirkwoods were called the Greenwoods. Valineth, I'm sure you've experienced this yourself, and you know of what I speak.
Well, I've never seen the Greenwood, but I have heard many a thing of it. However,
Yes.
I wish I can see it. Hopefully, in the future, I will be able to.
But yes, like we have heard tale. Like I have heard tale of like something in the woods that is not entirely benevolent, but not so much as forcing or giving people dreams per se. It's not really like I said, maybe it's just as a man, you and Jalen from the race of men, perhaps Baldur also, his dreams were also troubled last night. So it might just be as part of the race of men you are acutely affected in a way that we are not. Not entirely sure.
Maybe we need some water. That might be the case. How close are we, Thordain, to a source?
Thordain?
Sorry, not Thordain. Thordain is another wood elf that I met in my adventures, Feanor. I'm sorry.
We're only a couple days? Or 2 days from
one day away.
Well, thankfully, hopefully only 1 day's journey till we're there. If we do come across any water, I would still feel like, as someone who is more familiar with these woods, don't, as thirsty as you might be, we will have to make sure that we're not accidentally drinking from the enchanted river.
That would be bad.
Yes. I'm gonna make sure that like Belgo and Baldur know that as well. I know Baldur's probably experienced enough to know, but especially Belgo, if you see water, as much as you might want to jump in it, make sure at the very least you give us a chance to look at it, because it might not be safe.
How are we supposed to check this? Water's water, isn't it? Magical elf water, though. It sounds delicious. But if you say so, Feanor, I won't drink it without you telling me to, or bathe in it.
Believe me, I'll know safe water when we see it, and you can dive in all you want. But yeah.
And with that, the night comes to a close, and you all go to sleep, taking your turns at watch with a seemingly quiet night. You wake up in the morning, you get your training done. Theodric, are you planning on trying to sleep extra long, or what's the deal here?
Theodric is going to actually, I'm not sure how restful it will be. He's going to try and nap in the saddle. I'm sure the Rohirrim have been trained to do that. So he's just going to kind of just try and nap while he's riding Barada.
Great. So you guys leave and you depart at a relatively early time, finding yourself on the elf path again.
Have we lowered our pace, by the way?
Yeah.
Are we
We are not at the forced march, but
Okay.
if need be, Feanor's
do it,
gonna ask for it again.
Yep.
But it'll be a kind of as we need. Maybe in a couple days he'll say we need to do anyway, but it'd be like an on again, off again, just to maintain distance.
And so you continue onward, and there's a sense of hope that does fill you all. After dreamless nights, you're on the road with the promise of new sights, but more importantly, a fill of water, as you all have started reaching the very end of your water skins, savoring every last drop as thirst begins to become ever present. The day winds on, and I'm going to have Feanor, I'm going to have you make a wisdom check for me. Just straight wisdom.
21 with a natural 20.
Yo, freaking go.
This is a part that you recognize. You are know exactly where to go. In fact, within a few hours earlier than your perceived arrival time, you come across kind of this makeshift campground. But as you look around, you see that this campground itself has been expanded and looks to be some kind of additional set up banquet hall. The completely like rough carvings of the wood suggest that this is a relatively new construction. And the stream that runs along seems to be the exact stream that you saw that does cross the middle of the path. As you arrive, I'm going to have you, as you approach it, make a nature check.
Can Valnith sniff it?
Yeah.
I don't need to make a check or anything, but he's going to sniff it.
Roll a natural 1 for a 2.
Natural 1. You look at the water and you see, and immediately thirst begins to seep into you, and maybe your just ideas of I've seen this before. It's surely it can't be something bad. You immediately dip your hand into it to sip, to taste, to see if you notice anything different. You wait for but a moment, and another, and oh, this is good water. This is cold and cool and refreshing, and immediately you reach for your water skin and you begin to fill the water. Nothing happens. You're not clouded by visions. Nothing terrible is happening. This water, from what you can tell, it's clean.
So it has none of the effects that I would expect from someone who
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay. Well, I think perhaps at the very least, even if we do not make camp here, there are no other campgrounds within like a set like with that we'd be able to make it within the day, are there, Valnith?
Yes, Valnith seeing Thorday, or not Thorday, I'm sorry, Feanor.
It's okay.
They're similar, I'm so sorry. Valnith seeing Feanor drink it and seeing how confident he is in his decision of knowing that this is good, especially based off of the last conversation, Valnith is going to do the same. Fill his skins and...
Oh, this is good water. This feels super fresh, almost as if it's been triple filtered from all of the sediment that it's run through, all of the natural just flavors of this. It's incredible. Like, you've been, for the better part of 20 some odd days, you've been drinking relatively stale water, and this gives you life as you begin to drink and also fill your water skin with it.
Okay. Did I deduce anything from smelling it?
It's water. It smelled. Okay, I will say one thing. As you arrived at this location, the scent of dampness very much is a very welcoming break from the regular smells and everything. And actually, the sound of the trickling of water becomes almost soothing, to the point where you immediately begin to feel, all of you, not just the ones who's drinking from the water, all of you feel this immediate sense of calm and relaxation. And at this point, Baldur and Belgo have already started unpacking ponies and their caravan as well, down and around the tables.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is a great water source for us to be able to refill at. However, I don't know. I feel like with water source comes predators and prey nonetheless. So maybe we shouldn't unpack right next to it, per se.
But Valeneth, my feet are so tired. We've been walking, and everyone has just been I'm just so thirsty. I can't. And he just lays down and he flops on his back, just on the ground.
Oh God!
Valeneth's not really knowing
like
what's
that as a
going on.
child.
I've never
Look,
seen such behavior. What is this? Are you okay?
I believe it's a tantrum of sorts.
Sorry, I was muted. About what time in the day was it again? Sorry.
Early evening.
Okay.
I think that this might be a look. Everyone needs water. It would be a good spot to rest. Because I'm gonna say like we're probably just like Valeneth and Fane are probably just like hunched over at the river, chat,
Just drinking.
Yeah, it's like
you guys are right next to Rufus, who is also laughing.
Yeah,
good.
I look at the three of you and just go, well. Who's the animals now?
Yeah,
Oh,
Rufus's
God.
tail is just waggling like crazy, just like he's loving this. He's drinking up all that he can from this.
I put a hand on like Valeneth's chest, like make sure you're upstream from him. You don't want to get dog slobber in your mouth.
What are you talking about? Oh, Rufus! and moves like 5 meters upstream of him.
And just white foam from his jowls.
Okay, but I'm gonna say like the water does seem safe to drink. I'm not going insane currently, so I think this will be good. We'll discuss whether we're going to stay here.
Can I make a perception check
For what?
if he's going insane?
Yeah, make a perception.
Yeah, I'm tripping.
I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna be a lie too, because I'm drinking the water as well. Who's drinking the Kool-Aid? Let's see.
Drink up.
Me hearties yo ho. That's a natural 19 for 24.
Welcome home, good
Thanks for the
hunter.
raid. I appreciate that.
What is it you desire?
Thanks, FX.
Oh, it's FX. Hey, bud.
A natural 19, you said?
Yeah, for 24.
You gaze upon him, you gaze at Rufus, and you're disgusted. But you look up at Fedor, and you see he looks completely within his own mind. In fact, you can tell that strength has been brought into him from this stream, and he seems very, very strong from this.
Yeah, very muscular.
Yeah, just
You notice that he's like rippling with muscle.
the veins in his neck have just begun pulsing. Boom. And you can sense every heartbeat. His resting heart rate has lowered.
Theodric is going to dismount from Baradrock and lead him to the stream.
Broderick immediately, without any hesitation, begins to start drinking.
And Theodric is also going to drink and start filling his water skin.
Elgo, you can come jump in the water.
Can someone carry me?
Fëanor goes, picks him up, full drops him in the water.
and he stands up, and as he does so, the stream goes up to like just about his knees. So it's got a little bit of depth to it, and he begins playing in his dad Baldor's like, well, I guess he needed to wash his clothes anyway. And then he goes ahead and he rolls up his pant legs and he starts wading into the water as well, and he begins kind of washing himself, taking handfuls, drinking, and everybody restocks all their water supply.
Kyle, when
Yes.
I hunted deer, you said that I stripped it of leather, antlers, anything that could be of use.
You did.
How much leather would you say I got from it?
A decent amount. Usable leather in order to... depends on the size that you want to make. Well, I guess the question is, what do you want to make?
Theodric is going to see if it is possible for he and Fëanor to potentially make extra water skins out of this leather, so we can just have a bit of a stockpile if we can.
So he is a woodwright, so he can do wood crafting.
He's still crafty.
I did make. I think to keep in mind is I did use some of the leather to make leather braces.
That is true.
For Belgo,
Yeah.
Belgo and Boldor for their archery.
That is true.
I'm not sure what kind of braces perhaps that Theodric's wearing, but maybe he just doesn't wear one with his bow. Like maybe he's just
he's a man's man. He doesn't need
like
one.
the bowstring slaps on the arm.
no,
And he's
no.
like,
He's basically
Chainmail.
Yeah, he's got chainmail, but he also has a
Well,
bracer
also
for his
mail.
bow as well.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did use a little bit of it, so I know at least a little bit.
If you
know?
if you spent an evening, probably over the next couple of days, I'm gonna have whoever's doing this make checks to do so, but you could probably make one at the pace of one a night. So depending on how many people are working on it.
Actually, while Theodric's like kind of looking for the leather, do I see any of the younger trees that I saw?
Oh yes, that young wood you were talking about. I understand.
Yes, because I'm looking for some sprouts that are probably maybe double my height, so like 10 foot tall, so that I can anything that's relatively straight as well that I'll be able to craft into a spear for Valorant.
Oh.
Make a perception check for me.
I got a 10.
10. You find about one or two at the. Essentially, the way that this is that you have a kind of this slightly winding path that goes straight, and this water completely intersects it. Around the mouth, a little bit inside the Eaves of Mirkwood there, you find a couple right at the mouth of the stream that you are able to do so. And yeah, you're able to find enough to be able to probably craft a spear.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna grab that, and I won't work on it immediately, so I'm gonna put it up into the carriage after breaking off and cutting off with my knife some of the smaller little branches, just so I have the stick of wood. But I'll probably attempt to help Theodric with creating skins, because that seems like the more pressing issue at the very least.
Perfect. The two of you are working on this for the evening. I'm going to have both of you make dexterity checks for me.
Okay, it's flat dex.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, something good.
A 3 with a natural 1.
And I got an 11.
11. Yeah, you don't really know. You're trying your best to make this basically these skins, and you keep going through and cutting them the wrong size to the point where you actually trash the leather that's in there, Feanor, and
see Theodric, if this was just if we were working with wood, I'd be able to make something effective, or if I was using a pretty large seed or a gourd for.
No! Don't you don't need excuses. I'm doing just as badly.
And you look over, and there's just scraps of leather surrounding Feanor.
I think we're bad at this, Feanor, and I
think I agree. I don't think we're particularly gifted in the. We don't tell the others. We say we were just making leather strips.
Essentially.
Yes.
And Theodric, by the end of the night, you were able to make one water skin.
Hey. Should I just add that to my...
Yeah, you can go ahead and add it to your inventory, and you're able to fill it as well. The question is, with that being the case, have you set down camp for the night, or have you continued onward?
Yeah, I will, if everyone's okay with it, I'd be setting up camp while everyone's playing in the stream.
Rufus is very much playing in the stream. He's loving this.
Oh yeah, I know.
I think that we should probably set up camp. It's already evening. We've got a source of water. And staying here for as long as possible to let the ponies and my horse and Nim drink as much as they want is probably a good thing.
Yes.
That's good, and there was much rejoicing.
Actually, just while we're looking, can I see roughly how long ago this new table and stuff would have been carved? As being a woodwright, I'd be able to see how
Immediately.
all the wood was. Yeah.
You look upon it, and these look to be some pretty old trees that were chopped down. They were definitely brought in from deeper within the forest. There's no sign of these being chopped immediately from within the boundaries of the elf path. These probably look to be about 2 months old, something like that. So in the dead of winter, someone made camp here and made a complete new table, and the craftsmanship is pretty good. You can tell that they're not only skilled at felling trees but also carving, because they're pretty intricately carved and very well kind of flat and surfaced well, essentially. Chairs too.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Is there any like dead wood? Like we've collected wood for a fire and stuff. Is there any? I'll look for any like larger piece, maybe like a larger, flatter piece, and I'm gonna take the bark off of it, and I'm going to split it with one of my hand axes, and I want to actually etch into it that like the water is safe to drink, essentially, and I want to go set that up near the, like, see if I can like try and affix that to like, you know, somewhere like a rock or something, put it somewhere near the lakes so that people who come across this area, even if I actually like have to, I know, is there a bridge here? Is there, sorry, that crosses the river?
So it's pretty small.
It's
it's pretty shallow, and it's decently wide, so like a caravan can go over it by just dipping in and out. So it's not like
I reckon I'll just carve it into the table then.
Okay.
The water is safe.
Perfect.
So, but that way, any future travelers know that they, you know, that this is not the enchanted.
And so, as you begin to set up camp for the night, everything seems jolly as you begin divvying up food resources for the evening. Knowing that the hunting grounds are relatively soon, you all begin to relax and kind of take a seat back and enjoy just the change of scenery, mostly. Belgo has just been playing nonstop in this stream. Everyone's washed up, done what they can to be able to get everything cleaned going forward, especially as it's beginning to get hotter. Yes.
Yeah. Jalen's not going to go into to wash in the stream if there's anyone else there.
No worries. Yeah, not a problem. And in fact, there's Baldur even offers to let you use his tent for any kind of privacy that you need in order to bathe or whatever the case. So, he's trying to be helpful in any way. But if it's the fact that you just don't want to be near that water, that's totally fine as well.
No, it's just I don't want to be near
privacy.
The water.
Yep,
she's a lady.
Yeah,
of course. And so Baldur's.
I'm the only girl here.
Oh, you're not just gonna run in your clothes? Jeez.
Yeah. Baldur's going to be a gentleman and offer his tent and his services for allowing you to have privacy for that. So, if you wish to take advantage of that, feel free. But he's going to do that.
I probably just set up my own little rig that I have carried with me.
Perfect. And with that, the group of you begin to divvy up watches for the evening. What are your watches? What are they going to look like?
How much sleep did I get during the day?
Ooh, yes. I'm going to have you make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay, everybody, wish me luck. Wish me luck.
You got this.
Let's see. Come on, something good.
Come on.
That's an
That's
11.
not bad. That's not bad.
11.
You were able to rest. Unfortunately, not quite enough to remove any points of exhaustion, but tonight should be a decent amount of sleep. If you get 12 hours of sleep this evening, then it will count as a full 14 hours to recover your point of exhaustion.
Okie doke.
We'll just wake you. Do you want to take so Theodric, man of the hour, you know, you've had a few nights off. Would you rather take first watch or last watch?
I'll take first watch if that's all fine by you.
I wouldn't mind having an early night for once.
I'm still quite, awake, raring to go. Admittedly, I'm sure I'll crash later, but for now, use this energy while I have it.
Perfect. And so you go ahead and keep watch. I'm assuming Valneth, then that means you're going to be keeping watch too?
Sounds good.
Keep company.
And then Feanor and Jalen, you two, if that's okay with you, are going to go ahead and curl up for a night of sleep. Or first early sleep.
Yeah.
Cool. So you do so. You set up camp and everything, and you're able to sit kind of facing kind of at each other's backs, so you can see into the forest and kind of up either side of the road, kind of facing like east and west. Theodric and Valineth, I'm gonna have both of you make perception checks for me.
I'm good at that. Don't worry, Theodric. Maybe we should worry. That's a natural 2 for a 5. For a 7, I'm sorry.
I've got an 8, which is I've got to find some dice that work. All
It's
these
okay.
ones
It's
work.
okay. It's all good.
Full bellies and full hearts. The two of you gaze off dreamily into the canopy up above. Everything seems brighter and more glistening, as it were. About 2 hours into the watch, you do hear a little bit of a rustling as Baldur, for a second night, comes out of the tent and starts to immediately begin just doing his stretches that Feanor had been teaching him. He goes over to the wagon and he's kind of just like doing some back stretches and some leg stretches. And he looks to the two of you and he nods and he comes over and sits next to you. And you notice that he's like kind of like wiping his mouth, but there seems to be like large bags that are sitting under his eyes.
Having trouble sleeping, Mr. Baldur?
Well, trouble indeed. These past few days have been quite difficult. Everyone seems to be doing just fine, but unfortunately for myself, I'm having a few sleepless nights and some trouble staying asleep. And you see that as he sits, his mouth kind of just... He's smacking his lips to a degree, and there's like, you know, like that feeling when you kind of have like the dry mucusiness like on like your
Cotton mouth.
Yeah, cotton mouth. Yeah, exactly. And he's just like, you see, I'm worried about my son. This has been quite a journey for him, and don't get me wrong, I'm very happy that the group of you have been able to join us and protect us. But if things were different, and he kind of hangs his head. You see, Belgo never used to have to go on these long journeys with me. He had his ma back in Esgroth. You see, the night the dragon came, well, we were preparing to set sail to the Elf Halls, making our trek across to Woodman Town. Belgo, always the fan of being on the river and seeing me off. He was there with me that night. There with me on the western shore of the Long Lake, when we saw, out of the mountain, a burst of fire, and crimson wings soar through the sky. Smaug the Terrible. He had made his reappearance. Don't know what could have caused such a thing, but he had a deep hatred, and he unleashed his fury on the city. Belgo and I could only watch as our home and as my wife perished in those flames. Belgo kept screaming at me to go into the barge, go across, go find Ma. But I was a coward. All I could do was stand and watch as my city perished, as my wife burnt in the flames. We held on hope. We held on hope that maybe she had survived. She was not counted amongst the survivors. Sorry to tell this to you, but I do fear Belgo has experienced quite a bit of pain in his life. The talisman around his neck is a reminder from his mother that was gifted to him. But I find myself in these sleepless nights, reliving that pain of seeing my life burn away before my eyes. And even with the release of that one black arrow that brought the dragon down to his demise, I can only look upon that night with horror. And he turns his head down.
I'm very sorry for your loss, Mr. Beldor. But, if it does make you feel any better, I don't think you are a coward. I don't think I'd be any willing to fight a dragon. And your son needed you. You know, you could have run off into the flames. But if we can be honest, the odds of you surviving would have been astronomically low, and then who would have looked after Belgo?
I count my blessings that he was with me that night. I'm no hero. It's clear to see. But I'd like to think of myself as a pretty good father.
Aye, that you are.
He stands up. He kind of brushes off his pants. And you hear him muttering to himself. If only things were different. And you see him wandering back to his tent. As he does so, he takes one peek inside and he looks at Belgo resting, and he kind of squats down and he kind of caresses his head a little bit. And then he makes his way over to the river and he cups his hands and he begins to drink. And you hear just like his loudly smacking his cotton mouth. I'm going to have the two of you make perception checks.
My lord, come on, let's get this situation.
Valineth, yours is going to be with advantage.
Oh, okay, that's good. I think you're going to say disadvantage.
Okay, I'm now using
Alright,
my Witcher dice set. So hopefully,
Okay,
new set of
23.
dice.
Toss a coin to the Witcher.
23. Natural 18.
I got a 3.
You're thinking of the sorrow, and you're thinking of any words that you can do to comfort him as you just watch him pitifully drinking from the stream. This is a husk of a man, at least in his current state. You gaze on in the opposite direction, Valineth. But one thing that has caught your ear is the sound of almost bells. Very soft and very brief. And you're immediately aware of the presence of magic.
Magic. Evil magic?
You have no idea, but magic nonetheless. This is something like the hairs on the back of your neck begin to stand up. It's almost kind of like this resonance that you've learned a lot of being in the healing halls of Elrond. Something, it's a similar feeling, and you have not felt this entire journey.
So this isn't evil magic, per se?
It's familiar.
Okay. It's familiar, okay. So, because I would know if it was shadow lore or, like, shadow, because I can sense that.
Kind of, yes. Yeah.
Is it in the direction of the river, you said?
Yes.
Or the stream?
Yes.
Huh. Valinith feels it and he perks up. And he looks towards the stream and he says, I don't know about you, Theodric, but do you feel that? I feel magic. Maybe you can't feel it, but it's coming from the river.
Theodric feels nothing.
Okay. I actually go over to Feanor and actually kind of nudge him awake a little bit.
You look at as you do so, you look at Baldur just kind of squatting there by the river, and you see that there's almost kind of like what look to be like fireflies dancing upon the river, and he's just looking down into the water.
Oh, yeah, Theodric's awake. He's not okay. Is this a different looking river at this point than?
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
Okay.
But the general shape and everything of the river is the exact same.
Okay, Valinith grabs him and actually kind of moves him away from the river, like grabs him by the arm and starts yanking him a little bit.
And as you do so, he turns around. Who are you? Whoa! Where am I? And he like looks back and forth. There's fire under the mountain. Those fools have woken the dragon. I must find Hala. You kidnapped me, you rogues. Where's Belgo? And this screaming wakes everybody up as you just like go grab hold of him. He rips his arm away from you, and he says, "Where's Belgo?" And immediately the flap, and you hear it, duh, and like a head peek out. Who are you? Who are you? And he picks up a stick that's like beside him, says, and he begins swinging it. I'm going to have you make a dexterity saving throw, Valinith.
Wow.
I mean, I don't blame him. But...
Damn. Okay.
All of you are just immediately aroused. Like you are all in a state of just, like, what is going on?
That's an 18.
Yeah, you easily step aside as he drops it and says, "Where's Belgo? Hala, I'm coming!" As he just darts full-fledged, abnormally fast speed into off basically the southern side of the path as he just darts into the forest.
Valinith attempts to tackle him.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, like as soon as he starts bolting, he's gonna attempt to grapple.
Okay, these are going to be contested athletics checks for me.
I hope I beat freaking.
Can I help? Or are we?
No, you're all like you're all in the camp. Just waking up. This is all happening split seconds. Even
what about me? Because I was awake.
Even you, Theodric, you're sitting far off, kind of off where, like, away from the stream where the camp is set up, and you are seeing it's basically Valinith alone with him. You see this, you're all awoken, and you're like, what is happening? Like, it's just one of those like split second moments where it's like not a lot of time has gone on.
By the way, athletics or acrobatics?
Athletics.
Oh, why? Okay, sorry.
It's okay. 0. Like you said, if you
Oh, that's good. Okay, 17.
Yes.
Nat 17.
Oh, buddy.
Dirty 17.
Also,
I'm going to.
I did get a roll a d16 earlier that never got done.
Okay, let me do that.
So if we could do that and maybe add whatever it is to.
That's a 12.
Okay.
But
why do we keep rolling 12?
Valinith, I have no idea. It's cursed. Valinith, I'm going to have you repeat that check.
Oh, what the heck?
He got the same. So
no.
Come on,
what is
come on, Valinith, you got this. I believe.
Oh!
I'm just saying, sorry. We are off in the distance.
Come on.
We are in the distance, but we do see what's happening.
You do see what's happening.
Yeah.
That's a 7.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that that's what was going on.
That's a 7.
And with a second 17, he has disappeared into the forest of Merkel.
No.
I immediately whistle to Nim, jump on his back, and take off after him.
You do so. And in the chaos of everything that is going on, first of all, what is happening back at camp as Feanor disappears into the forest after Baldur?
Theodric is checking on Belgo. Making sure Belgo doesn't go running off into the forest after his dad.
Belgo's
and trying
confused. He's screaming,
calm
Dad! Dad! Where's he going? Why did he go in there? Did he, like, why does he
Belgo.
recognize me?
Belgo.
As he's just...
Theodric is just trying to calm him, being like, "It's okay, Belgo. I'm assuming maybe it's the water, the magic water we weren't supposed to drink. Feanor's got
No,
this.
but I was
Feanor's
bathing
gonna
in it.
find him."
I was, and he just says, there was nothing wrong with it. I'm fine. Why is it? As he just...
So did Feanor go off into the woods after Baldor?
He did.
Yes.
Okay. Can I quickly catch his arm before he leaves and just go? This is the whistle. Please don't die.
If that's actually happening, I pull at the deer whistle that's at my chest, snap off my necklace with the like just the whole necklace, so everything that's on it, and throw it to you. If that's what you're doing, like just snaps the whole thing off, throws it to you, jumps on near, rides off, doing like a power slide as he like skids near the riverbank.
Okay.
So, while Valnith was close to the river over there, did he sense that the magic was coming from this river?
Yes.
Okay. He makes sure that Theodric, as he's going by, is aware. Magic in the river! Magic in the river! Be careful!
And Feanor too, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Theodric, Feanor, anyone who's there.
Well, let's assume this is all happening simultaneously.
Yeah. This is this is crazy.
Yeah, this is chaotic. This is the essence of chaos. And so as that happens, Feanor, you burst into the forest and you immediately don't see him. However, I'm going to have you make a survival check in order to track him.
Is there any way that I could have pointed the direction towards?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Again, all of this is happening.
Yeah.
You're pointing
Yeah.
there. Essentially, it is even with the bank into the south part of the forest as he begins darting. And so you hug the bank, looking for any signs of tracks, Feanor.
Oh no! All right, hold on a second. Give me a sec. Don't say that out loud. Don't say that out loud.
Say what?
I'm sorry. I know I have power, but we're gonna roll a d16 for that.
That is a 3.
No! Anyone, please. If
The
you have
dice
your
is incapable of rolling a 16, Kyle.
but,
Oh
like,
no, I've rolled it many a time in Everlast. Not for
Yeah,
this kind
against
of
the
roll,
party.
but yeah, it happens.
Well, if there's no one else who can bail me out.
Anyone, hold on. Give it like 10 seconds in case. Feanor, make your plea.
No, I want Boulder to die.
Okay.
Someone jumps on board. That's what I'm talking about.
All right.
All right, Spider. I got
Roll a
you.
d16.
I got you. And that is a 7.
I've only
You're
got.
a disgusting man.
Yeah,
Disgusting man.
Look, I rolled a 3.
Total?
I am.
Total. That was my 3.
I'm 2,000 points off giving hope or inspiration.
Well, I'm
You
gonna
know
roll
what?
it just to check what it would have been, just so we can all
This is
sit
fate.
here in our. It would have been a 13 otherwise.
Not much better either.
But
But
is 13 better?
13
Who
is
knows?
And as you do so, you've lost all sense of immediate traces. However, you do hug the river as you continue onward down. This stream, you notice immediately, this isn't the same river that you drank from earlier. If anything, it seems as if it is an illusion, almost as if it is, well, there's clearly magic coming from it. As you begin making, and actually the banks of this river are very wet and very muddy. Not necessarily saying you're stepping in this magical water, as it were, but and Nim is having a difficult time trudging through it. You continue on for about 10 minutes to the point where you haven't lost him completely. However, you do see that there are very deep footprints that go deeper and deeper into Mirkwood. Basically, they're very obvious, so obvious that even a blind dwarf can see it. And so you clearly have a trail on him, but he
a
seems to be
man.
making his way much faster than you're able to keep up with at this point.
How the heck? What is he freaking influenced by? What is this?
Nim!
He
Well,
drank the funky water.
I guess, but
I
like,
am gonna follow if there's trails, if there's tracks there, and well, he is moving fast. He can't. I'm away from this river. Nim moves quick,
Yeah.
so I almost like rub like Nim's neck and be like, "Come on, boy, let's get him. Let's find him." And we dive into the woods for the second time.
You do so.
at the meantime, Valinith is just keeping everyone away from the water as much as he can.
I imagine we'll circle back to us. Probably.
Yeah. He's trying to keep everyone calm.
You do so. And Belgo, he says, "Do you think he's gonna find my dad? I don't want to be alone." And he's the whole time he's clutching the talisman around his neck. "I don't want to be alone. Please, we have to find him." As he continuously points, and like he's kind of keeping calm, but he's like actively trying to go towards like the. Basically, like the side of the forest to try to get like some kind of look in. It's not like he's trying to dive head first in there, but
I've just like I'm holding on to him. Just trying to like hold on to him. And I'm just like repeating, "You're not alone. You've got us. All right, you're not alone. You're not alone, Beldor." Belgo. Damn it! I say Belgo.
It's okay.
I say the right one.
I take it. No worries.
I'm just worried. Okay. Yeah.
And with that, we cut back to Feanor as he makes his way galloping through the forest, keeping close enough to the river to be able to see the tracks. And about 30 minutes pass, and with this, you've lost tracks all of a sudden, and you find yourself circling back to a relative spot where this could potentially have happened. And you do notice that there is a low-hanging tree that basically separates and that looms over the top of the river, and you can see what look to be strands of silk, and you look down at the ground and you see what looks to be a large figure being dragged off in the mud deeper into Mirkwood. From what you can tell and from what you're able to see initially, it looks like Baldur had found himself caught in a web, but in his flight and in his crazed demeanor running forward, he ripped the web off of the tree and tangled himself in it. However, there was something that dragged him off, from what you can only imagine, off in the southerly direction, eventually veering into the woods. You see that it's no longer mud, and it's a trail of basically wet through the basically through Mirkwood.
Hey.
You can't do this alone. You can't do this alone. Oh.
So what's everyone doing at the camp again? Sorry.
We're making sure
About 40-ish minutes total has passed since your pursuit in the forest, and so everybody is kind of just figuring out like what the heck is going on. It's still like very much in the brain, but I would say if you wanted to make your way back, it's only about a 10-minute trek back to the path, as you spent a lot of that time retracing ground and circling for that. So it's only about a 10-foot sprint from Nim back.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably what I'm gonna do. I did promise to not take completely stupid risks. Yeah, definitely gonna head back to the camp. Yeah, tell everyone what I've seen, and not good. But yeah, I'll ride back.
Do you tell Belgo what you've seen also?
I would try not to.
Yep.
Make a deception check for me. Question: deception or stealth?
Oh, probably stealth, honestly.
Go ahead.
Um,
Try to keep his
Thank God
attention
I
away
have-
from the essentially.
16.
16. You do so successfully. If anything, actually preoccupied with trying to make sure all the ponies are safe. Basically, Belgo has gone into a frenzy of making sure nothing else leaves, like his other ponies. He's kept actually an eye on Rufus. He's kept an eye on Baradarok, and he's just trying to hold on to everything that he has left tight, and he's busy at work doing that. You're keeping very close eyes upon him, but this seems to be something that's calming him down to a degree. So much, in fact, where he actually doesn't even notice Feanor's return yet. Okay. Divulge.
Well, yeah. Because what I saw was essentially that he'd got caught in webs and been dragged away, right? That was just. Well, I followed his tracks. It seems that our pace wasn't swift enough. It seems that there were signs of webs, and he's been dragged deeper into the woods. It's not far from where we currently are. At least, wasn't for me on him. But I fear the worst, and we have to decide what to do now. I would say that we go in and we try and see if we can retrieve Boulder. But I'm not sure what we're going to do about Belgo, and I'm not sure what we're going to do about the ponies. It's really, what do you think we should do? Like I said, I think that we should try and save him. I know that's what we all want to try and do, but I just don't know how to logistically figure that out. I will say, from what I know of, these spiders do, at the very least, a reversed fire. They did seem to be a decent deterrent last time I saw them. But on average, like they would be what, like pony-sized, these spiders?
Oh, smaller.
Like they would
so
be.
The normal adder cops are probably smaller, probably about maybe spreading out like the span of like a pony, but the giant spider that you saw was about the size of a pony.
So your average Goliath bird eater. I gotcha.
Yeah, huge.
Like, human spider. Torso is their main body. Okay, I described it to them, and they did seem to. The spiders that I ran into, their mother was about the size of a pony. Based on what I saw, can I try to recall to see if I can tell how big the thing was that dragged him off was?
Based off of what you do recall, you actually notice that there is nothing that left tracks. It was just the tracks of the body being dragged. There were no footprints of any kind.
So they would have been up in the trees. Okay. Jalen, you've been the one who's been able to hear this sound of these spiders more than any of us. Could you see if that's perhaps something that you can hear now?
Make a perception.
They did seem to have the capacity for speech before, so they may trying to be stealthy. At this point.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give a listen. See if I can hear anything.
Perception.
12. You listen, and you listen intensely and closely, but over the sound of the stream, you can't hear anything. So, of the similar ilk as that last, as the chittering.
No, I can't. I can't hear anything.
We have to go after him.
Why, I agree. But I'm glad you came back to us, Feanor. That's responsible of you, and I believe together we're stronger.
What do we do about Belgo and the carriages?
I think we have to take him with us, unfortunately.
We can't leave him here, and 3 of us going in alone to rescue Baldur might not be enough.
Yeah.
I
mean, obviously we risk everyone getting caught, but if we leave him alone, his fate is
almost certainly sealed.
Yeah.
I'm not leaving him.
I think our best chance might be we take him with us, and then when we go to confront the spiders, we'll leave him on Baradarok, who can probably protect him, or at least get him to safety if things go wrong.
So I will say this, Theodric, with
Yeah.
that plan, Baradrock is going to be taking some serious coaxing to get into Mirkwood, FYI. Nim is a little bit different, but Baradrock is... Yeah, this is not...
Nim's in his home ground. This is not.
Okay,
and
well,
it's a similar
Nim would
thing
be
if you
a better
attempt to
idea.
take ponies as well.
Yeah.
I think as
They're our biggest liability.
well, my fear is that if we tie the ponies down, then if something comes, they cannot escape. But if we do not tie the ponies, if anything spooks them, they will dart off into the forest, never to be retrieved.
We'll have to tie them down and just
Is
take
there-
that.
is there-
Everyone's too busy dealing with us.
Is there anything that... Sorry, this is to the lore master.
That's fine.
That any of the elves can do to... I don't know, potentially reach out in a way to potential passersby, to maybe some haggard wizards, to maybe some elves in the forest that maybe...
Like immediately? Like, what do you mean?
I don't know. Is there some sort of elf thing that they can do to summon help? I don't know.
Flare.
What is
we have a
this?
firework.
What
Let's-
is this?
let's
We
get
do
on
have a
board.
firework.
We do have a firework.
Tears on it, and maybe it'll open. Maybe it'll explode the moment he touches it.
I don't know. I don't know what to do because we can't bring the horses in.
FYI,
You could try.
the longer that this goes, the more the time is ticking on Baldur.
Oh, come on!
Let's try. Let's
Okay.
attempt. We should
Okay.
attempt to get him in
What
into the
I
forest.
think what we're going to do
Yeah.
is the cart's covered in its tarps. It's covered in whatever.
Yeah.
I think the main thing we can do for the horses is put like essentially what you put on horses when they go to sleep, the eye covers.
Blinders, yeah.
Yeah, put the blinders on, tie them to whatever, like to the carriage, if that. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it up to Theodric what he's doing with Baradrock, if he's tying him down or trusting him to, if something shows up, to evade it and return eventually. Whether he runs into the woods or whether he just runs along the path. So I'm gonna leave that.
I feel like he wouldn't run into the woods itself. He just seems to have an aversion to him.
Yeah.
Either with the ponies.
Theodric's going to be
ponies.
trusting Baradrock to stay and be a good boy.
Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine what's going through your mind right now, freaking Theodric. Whew.
I'm going to also. It's like, okay, quickly. Someone is going to have to grab hold of Belgo, but I'm starting to take like all the kit and stuff off of all the horses, bar like their bridle and the blinders, and like any supplies or anything, even that are on Baradrock. I'm like immediately going to say, like, we need to get these off, put them on the carriage. If anything happens, at the very least, we can come back to the carriage.
And Belgo is very well aware to your presence at this point. He's like, "What?
Yeah.
Fano, where's Dad?"
Okay, I'm
Going to
gonna grab Belgo by the shoulders and get down on his level, and just like force him to look me in the eye. Belgo, your dad is still in the woods. We're gonna go after him, okay? And we want you to come with us. Right? You stay behind me. You stay behind me. You stay safe. Okay?
Make a persuasion
Feanor's
check.
in the background. Feanor's going like full military mode essentially
Yeah.
as well. He's like
So-
picking up swords, like he picks up like Theodric's like sword from like where they were sitting, throws it to him. Like he's grabbing like even like Belgo's bow and like what arrows that they do have, and he's like about to march over and put them in those boys' arms. But like he's busy at the moment, but he'll come do that after she's done this,
Yeah.
regardless of her success.
Yeah, like Fedor is just like pure military, and like Jalen's like very much in the mindset of like, yeah, there's a child here. So you're an 11 on the persuasion.
Okay. We were told not to leave the path, and it seems like that's all we keep doing. But my dad. And he nods, and he buries his head into your chest. It's just like
I just wrap my arms around him.
we have to find it. What about the ponies? And he points over. What about the ponies? They can't go in.
Belgo, you have to listen to me. The ponies won't come into the woods with us. We have to leave them here. have to go get your dad.
I should stay and protect them.
They're
taught me-
safer here. They're safer here than in the woods, young lad.
I know, but maybe I can stay and protect him. And he could just see that his face is like pale white with the idea of going into Mirkwood. I've been training. I've been taught.
Yeah. Feanor walks up, bow and like small quiver in hand. He's like, Belgo, everything that you've taught, everything that you and your father have done, now is the time to be a warrior. If we do not go into that wood, we may not get your father back, but it is through strength and adversity that one grows. If we wish to grow and we wish to save your father, it is in this moment that we must be strong. And I'm going to put the bow like in his hand, like ginger, like softly, and like wrap his hand like around the shaft of the like around the main part of the bow. In moments like these are where we must be strong. All of us are afraid for your father, Belgo. But there is no bravery without fear. It is one's ability to overcome it that makes one a warrior. That is what your training was for.
And he nods his head in approval.
Under the words of your father, it was training for hunting. Your father didn't want this for you. But I'm sure he'll understand. You must be strong for him, not just for yourself. That is what it is to be a warrior. To be strong for others in their time of need. Now come on. And Feanor's going to stand, and he's going to like help Belgo up.
Yeah, Valneth is gonna pat him on the head, and he's gonna whisper down into his ear, "You believe in magic, don't you?"
I've seen it.
Well, you're about to witness the magic of true friendship. And it's so corny. I know. It's meant to come out cooler than that, but you know.
I just saw that. Welcome to the army, kid. You've been drafted.
Yeah. But he's also going to bend down. He's like, you don't leave Jalen in my side, okay? So, Jalen, is it okay if he just stays between us?
I'm okay with that. I prefer it that way.
Yeah. I think that's the best.
We move in sets.
Yes.
Theodric, you and I together. We will lead the frontal assault. Keep in mind these things may attack from above. Valineth,
I can be in the back from the rear. Don't worry. I'll
side by side. Have Belgo just in front of you, so he's in the center of the pack. Keep an eye on the trees around you. Belgo, I'm going to be trusting in you. You're going to be with Rufus. I need you to keep your eyes peeled. I need to keep your eyes.
I did not want to bring Rufus on this trip.
You're not bringing Rufus.
He's been drafted.
No,
Welcome
okay.
to the army.
Rufus
He's a hound.
He's the bear bait.
If need be, Rufus can run and lead Belgo back to the tracks, back to the camp.
Awesome.
You need to stay in the center, but if anyone sees anything, we halt our movement, and we all go back to back with Belgo in the center. Are we clear on this?
Yes.
We move as a unit. We move
Aye,
as
Captain. Aye, Captain.
Anal.
Yes.
Damn it. All I can think of is that line from Tropic Thunder, "Suck my unit." It's like...
Do I pick up a skull and start like licking it or something?
I'm glad we're making light of this because this is horrible.
Now this is Kyle.
Yeah. I have drafted a child into our military.
And a dog.
For his own safety. The dog was always bait. Look, he's just coming with us. He's not really probably going to get into a whole lot of the fighting. It's mostly so that he is not left alone so spiders can devour him.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay, so Feanor, Jalen holds out the whistle that you gave her. Should I give this to Belgo?
Yeah, did you look at it more closely at all, by the way, while you had it?
I mean, there wasn't really an opportunity to feel like I was gripping it pretty hard, and then...
Yeah, I'm just saying there is more than one thing on my notes, is all.
Alright. As I hold out the whistle, I look down at my hand. What do I say?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, you can say Kyle. Let's go.
A number of trinkets, but one in particular that hangs right beside this eloquently carved whistle is what looks to be a sharp kind of whitened stone. It's relatively cracked and broken, but it seems to be large and unlike anything that you've seen before.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
File that away for later.
I do take it, and I crouch down to Belgo, and I quickly tie it on next to onto his neck alongside his other the token he has for his mother. Belgo, if anything should happen in there, if things start going south, I want you to call to Nim. Blow this whistle. Blow it hard. He will come to you, and then all I need you to do is hop on him and follow this path back here. If need be, just ride as fast as you can.
I've gotten good at riding Nim. I can do it.
Even if you need to ride for many days, trying to get distance from here will be the important thing. Once you get out of the woods, wait, just for a while. If we can, we will return. If we're not back by the dawn, leave. Now, squad, we need to head in. Leave anything behind that you do not need. We travel light.
Yeah, Valinith grabs around Belgo, from the back a little bit, on the back of his shoulder. All right, lad, time to make a man out of you yet. Huzzah! And he goes.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
You enter.
And
Yes.
Feanor going first. Deirdrick, you gonna be all right? As we're stepping into the woods.
Oh yes, I'm wide awake and ready to kill some spiders.
Let's go.
You all step into the woods, something that Feanor and Theodric are relatively familiar. Feanor more familiar with than Theodric, and Theodric immediately understands the overwhelming darkness, but one thing that does bring him back to his senses is still the sound of the stream that is just to his right. And so you able to steel your nerves a little bit, you hunker down and you begin forward. Valinith and Jalen, you both enter under the boughs of Mirkwood, and you immediately all sound becomes muted. Darkness creeps over, and you're barely able to see much outside of the sound of the river, but also just trees and bramble and bush and thicket all over. And there is a dark heaviness that lingers within this wood. Valinith, you very much feel taint of shadow within here. And Jalen, this is something that, yes, you have not experienced, and you're brought back to the thoughts of specifically Theodric surviving an entire night in this forest. It's just it's incomprehensible. You look down at Belgo, and he's whimpering, and he's clutching both necklaces in his hand. He's like, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. As you step by step begin to creep forward into Mirkwood, I'm gonna have you Feanor make a survival check as you trek forward back to the initial spot where Baldor's body was dragged away.
Okay, is it because I was riding Nim? Is this something that I would have advantage with because he's quite a heavy creature?
I guess.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I mean, I would say so. I would say you have advantage because you've already been here. And so it's more just guiding everybody through this to get them to this point. It's a slow-paced trudge.
You're a lucky person.
Thanks for being so nice, Lore Master.
I had to ask because I had already previously been here and I was able to find my way back, which was very different to when I'd been in the woods before.
And
I got a natural 20.
Oh,
You have no right.
I stole that from the DM.
oh.
God.
That's good. You're able to lead everybody back here without any issues and relatively silently, to the point where everybody's kind of steeled their nerves a little bit, even Belgo to a degree. Rufus is out in front, and basically Belgo has his hand in his fur as he walks kind of alongside Rufus, and everything is completely undisturbed as it was as you around 30 minutes pass and you make your way back to this area where he's dragged. And so you're able to follow these drag marks further and further into the forest. You keep doing so, and the encroaching darkness is oppressive. I'm going to have each of you make a wisdom saving throws.
Oh my gosh.
For once, I got a good roll.
That's good because you're all at it.
I got an 18.
That's pretty
Oh,
good.
yeah. I got
literally
a 9.
skidded on the 20.
15 for Valineth.
Okay.
It skidded on the 20 and then it landed on the 8. That's
Jalen also got a 9.
bogus.
You all make your way through a tracking through this forest, and you start to hear chittering off in the distance. But you don't know if it's above you, in front of you, behind you. And as you make your way away from the river, you immediately are overcome by conversations happening. You can hear bits and pieces of it. But as you do so, you don't feel any necessarily impending danger. But Feanor, you know exactly what is up ahead. You know exactly what to be confronted by. And seeing the look on Belgo's face with you, Jalen, you grit your teeth and you realize this is something that you have to do. But you are just feeling just as afraid as he is. The two of you gain 1 point of shadow.
Valineth grabs, hears this and grips his bow and, is literally at the ready to just, fling an arrow at someone.
And with that, you approach what looks to be a clearing as the these drag marks begin to rise up higher and higher and higher, as if there's this hill in the middle of the forest. And you do so, you continuously follow. About 30 more minutes pass. And it is dark, the bugs have gotten to you, you've seen all around you, and they are the size of the flies, the mosquitoes, size of golf balls, just humming in your ears as if you are the prey to be captured, and they descend upon you as if to feast upon you. You swat them away, and even this horrible thought isn't the worst thing that you could possibly imagine, as you just continuously hear this chittering in the near distance. You make your way up this path, a path that is heavily forested. I'm going to have each of you make stealth checks for me.
Huh.
Uh-oh.
That's funny. That's funny.
This is not good.
Who's stealthy? I'm not stealthy. Actually, I'm decently stealthy.
I got a 21.
Whew. Thank you.
Oh, I got
13.
14.
11.
You all silently creep through the underbrush. Barely disturbing anything. You can hear the sounds of your own breath. And you can feel the sound of humming. Persistent within your ears as the bugs continue back and forth, landing on you, swatting them away, but quietly. And you find yourself where eventually this hill levels off, and you see standing before you an ancient iron archway, and back behind, a ruined-looking keep that is completely covered in spider webs. And at the back corner, you can see two figures, one large and one considerably smaller, tied up in webs, but you don't see any sign of spiders. But you can see the smaller one wiggling. And that is where we're going to end our session for today.
Oh my gosh.
I bet that's the pony, the other one.
Yeah. Is
No,
this the first like real combat where death consequences are?
Well, I had the
Yep.
potential for real death combat, but
That's
I
true.
managed
That's
to
true.
evade it. But I think this will be if we do encounter any spiders, we just all need to roll nat 20s on our stealths. Stealth checks. If we do get into combat, I believe this is our first like full combat, isn't it, Kyle? Like it will be.
Yeah.
I think
Other
so.
than what we've done.
So I would
Okay.
say,
Oh, no, we
the
fought
official
the-
combat was the bandits.
Yeah.
There
Yes.
technically
Yeah.
were death consequences, but you vastly outnumbered them. So
Yeah.
I would have been surprised if there was a TPK at that one. For sure, I would have been absolutely shocked. Maybe if like things were ganged up on, there could have been a death or something. But no, this is
To be
the
fair, in that
first real
fight,
combat.
Valiant spent the entire thing on the ground.
True. Jalen and I both until the very end where Jalen turned it around.
What?
We were being a distraction is all. We were just, it's good.
Come on.
It's fine though because he was toying with us, and I was doing the
Yeah.
wiggle moves on the ground. Good.
I forgot about that.
I don't think that's
Yeah.
gonna work with spiders though.
But yes,
so.
speaking of which, first potential combat is session 20. So
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, like, we've gotten into plenty
It's
of
not
fights.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Session 20.
Next session, session 20.
Yeah.
Nice.
I realize there is a thing that I'll have to clarify
Oh,
with
no.
Kyle, but I'll talk to you about that after
Absolutely.
the stream.
Quickly before we end, let's go ahead and wrap this sucker up. But quick thoughts on tonight's session. Starting
Go with
Val-
Jalen first.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jalen
First,
first.
and she's gotta leave. Yeah.
Yeah, Jalen, go.
No, it was great. I liked the funky dream sequences. That was fun.
Nice.
And Jojo just like doing his thing, and
Hearing creepy voices.
yeah. I love hearing you do creepy voices.
By the way, quickly, Jalen, were you listening to the stream version of it?
Yeah, listen to the stream version.
No, but I will.
Listen to the stream version of it.
I'll tell you what. You get it up on YouTube, and I will listen to it.
I'm gonna upload it tonight. Just go listen to it.
Is this some spooky music?
Okay.
Go
All right,
Say it.
I'll see what I can do.
listen to it.
You made me
Did
lose
you hear
my
any of it? Tom?
derailed my train of thought. Hang on.
Oh my god, did he have a voice modulator or something?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay, I'm definitely gonna go listen to it then.
Okay.
That's why my facial features were like. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, your face is always fun to watch. Like,
I guess, but
like you're like a kid at Christmas.
yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and then I was actually wondering like how Baldur's wife died because I don't think anyone ever asked or got an answer to that one. So yeah, it was
I
really
think, yeah.
interesting to hear like his little tragic backstory and stuff. So
I think we had briefly heard that she died back with Smaug, but not anything specific.
yeah, nothing specific, nothing that I remembered anyway. I have to go actually.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
See
Great
you,
job
Spider.
tonight. It was
Yeah.
fun.
Alright guys, bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
We'll do a weird order then. So let's go ahead with Feanor next, and then we'll go to Theodric and then Valnith.
I have a lot to say, so that's good.
Mixing it up. No, I thought it was pretty good. Like I do like the little twist that it's like, oh yeah, we drank from the river, but as night like fell, it was like it went bad. It's like I'm interested in what's going on there, whether it was actually the enchanted river or something was diverted perhaps by some dark force, something diverted a part of it into the main water stream. But no, even just like I did think it was interesting. Like a lot of our sessions have been like a lot of role play, a lot about what we're doing in our nights, our watches, which has been really good, I think. And even just little moments like being able to test Theodric to make sure that he was up to scratch. It really felt like, I feel like that's something that my character would have very much done.
I
And
felt like
been
this session
pleasantly
was a very like we saw Feanor shine as far as what do we do like when you are in charge and like crap is hitting the fan, like what is Feanor doing in this moment? I think was a very big session for that.
he does view a lot of things as what is the tactical advantage. Even if we're in a moment of peace, putting in rope with like that, if someone walks up to camp but doesn't see it and the pots will bang together, like even in like the quietest of moments, trying to think of all these things, and now it's okay, everything's gone bad, someone's missing, and I put into the chat, he knows it's the best thing he could be doing, but it's weighing heavy on him. Like that point of shadow probably isn't even just from the spiders; it's from bringing Belgo into this situation,
100%,
like more than anything.
absolutely. Yeah.
Like he knows it's the best thing, the best solution to this. Otherwise, you're leaving essentially, not to put it bluntly, a liability back there, something that will make our group weaker. But like he has to bring it with, and that might even be its own mistake. But there's nothing that can be done about it because they need to go save him.
Yep.
But yeah, I think like I said, it was very good. I'm liking that I'm just making weapons for people too. You know, eventually everyone's gonna have as many weapons as I do.
Fortunately, you've got a giant forest to be able to help you with that. So.
Yes. Yeah, advantage of being a woodwright.
Yeah.
Mirkwood Spear +3.
Ooh. Legendary Gil-galad status.
You see, I dip it into the enchanted waters so that whenever you stab someone with it, they go crazy.
Enchanted poisoning. I love it. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Excited for next session, though, to see how that goes.
Oh, definitely.
Deidric.
Can't wait to see who dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good session. I like a lot of the byplay between different player characters, and you know, like Jalen singing Theodric awake, and Valineth and Feanor checking up on him and keeping an eye on him, and you know, everyone discussing weird dreams, and you know, it's good. It's nice. It's
Are you gonna use your king cup on this next encounter?
Maybe.
It might be
We'll
good.
see.
Depends on how badly things go.
True.
I
hold the
like,
flowers, and they're just like, oh.
and then they shrivel up like, oh.
It's okay.
Actually, for Theodric stuff, I actually did like that. It's like while Feanor was like very much in the here and now, running around in charge, there's still this stuff that's going on with everyone else. Like Theodric specifically, I will have to go back and listen to the stream. But like his weird dreams, it's like a thing that I think about every now and then. Like, I wonder what is going on with that. So it'd be interesting to find out more.
Yeah, same. Like, it'll be good. It's very good. Yeah, like
The answers are maybe just a week away. Who knows?
yeah, hoping that we don't have to kind of make it over to the rest of the Mirkwood without Baldur.
It would be easier for us.
See, it's just God. He's calling you to the afterlife.
The Valar are calling.
Iluvatar is singing you into battle rage.
I mean,
Well, if Iluvatar's saying, I think it's kind of destined to happen.
yeah, it's just kind of giving me Emperor Palpatine vibes.
Yeah, there you go.
Do it.
Oh, just go back and listen.
Give in to your anger.
Oh, it's not
Yeah,
Palpatine.
I'm
but
gonna
yeah.
have to.
No,
I'm gonna have to because I didn't get the full experience. Because
yeah, I mean, it's a good voice just in general. Those of you who don't know, we can't necessarily hear all the voice mods and things that go on behind the scenes, including the music. So you guys in chat are getting the full experience by it. Kyle's doing it with his talented voice here, but you're getting an enhanced view of it. So
I've definitely got to.
it's freaky. I heard it. I'm like, oh my god, what am I listening to?
I have to go back
Anyways.
and listen to it too because
Oh my gosh.
because I can't hear myself talking. It basically just sounds like me. So what you guys are hearing is what I'm hearing too. So well, I can hear the music and stuff in the back, but that's it. Valineth, what was your thoughts for
I
tonight?
have a lot of things, but I'll keep it short, as brief as possible. I really enjoyed, like we mentioned before, the Feanor stuff at the very beginning. Again, I feel like it was very Feanor-centric, again, because these are his woods, and these are the things we have to rely on him so much. But I also do love the vulnerability that you've been showing with Feanor, Nick, because, again, he does take everything on his back. But he's also vulnerable enough to approach the characters when he needs help, which is great because I've been in so many parties and sessions where, like, yes, you have this heroic character, but you don't really actually see like not the mortal, but like the rational person behind that has feelings and is dealing with all this behind the scenes. So I really liked how Feanor opened
In his
up
quiet
a little bit.
moments, when he
Yeah.
can stop and sit and talk to someone.
Yeah, and
Very,
I'm
very,
glad- I'm
very
especially.
Tolkien-esque. Very
Yeah.
Tolkien-esque. I like it.
And I think there is a little bit of a kinship. I know, again, since they're both elves, I think they can find a little bit of common ground when they're both talking, especially when it comes to that topic of mortality. And obviously, Feanor being much more aware of it than Valineth is. However, Valineth also offering some wisdom at the same time of, like, not to be so rash. But
Well, a little glimpse into the mind of Feanor. He obviously asked Valineth these questions because he understands he's much older than him, and he has respect for like his elders and stuff. But the idea that, even in your whole life, if you've never really been confronted with death of someone like in that way, Valineth might have some answers that he doesn't.
Yeah.
And he does think that way about Theodric and Jalen as well. It's just like the situations haven't really arisen where he's
I mean, yeah.
When he's dancing, he asked Jalen to help.
Exactly. Well, I mean, even in this entire thing, Valineth has learned a lot from everyone, not just Feanor, but just in general. Like, obviously, he has a lot of wisdom being an elf, but like an old elf. But he also like is missing out on a lot of the things of the world, and he's learning little by little. He's learning about different cultures and different people. But I do want to say, yes, it sucks that I missed the last two sessions, but even going back and listening to those and listening to how Kyle played Valineth, again, everything Kyle did was in Valineth's character. But it actually kind of gave me a little bit more direction on where to play Valineth, which I'm really happy about. So starting this session, I feel like I'm really starting to see like a purpose for Valineth and moving that forward. So yes, it sucked not being here, but it was good to be able to see Kyle play that through and kind of give me a little bit more inspiration on where I should continue that. But then, go ahead.
Was it good seeing how other people are viewing your character, like through their lens?
Oh yeah,
like it definitely, even with how you were acting today, if you get the feeling that Valineth is old.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's
very wise.
It's like you can feel that age in everything he does. Like, if you know what I mean. Like, it's not like, oh, he's like a really old man, but it's like there is just a kind of wisdom there that, like, even just saying like, oh yeah, don't approach the death too quickly. Even if it's like, even if I'm only experiencing it for the first time, it's still a thing I can rationalize with, and I've got the forethought and the ability to think about it in a calm mind.
Well, that's part of the reason why I decided to choose a high elf. I think initially when we started off the campaign, I really kind of focused on, obviously since he's new to the world, you saw a lot of Valineth's like weak points, his naivete peeking through because there's a lot of situations that were new to him, and all he knows is his own elvish ways in Rivendell. But the reason I chose him to be as old as he is, I mean, he's not like super old, but he's old enough to know the ways.
Still third age, like baby he's third age.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, I chose him in that way, and I chose to create him in that way because, again, I wanted him to be a grounding force for the party, and so we're not just completely running off emotion. Especially being a scholar, there was a lot going into me choosing him as a scholar as well, because hopefully it could bring a little bit more insight and something different to a party that may not necessarily be there. Yes, I'm not as amazingly knowledgeable about Tolkien as I'm assuming everyone here, you guys are all much more knowledgeable about Tolkien than I am, but at the same time,
we've all got our strengths.
Exactly. And Valineth, I kind of viewed him as that kind of like a centralizing figure that he can be a character that people can come to talk about things with. But moving on from that, Theodric, oh my gosh. I think, in my opinion, Theodric's backstory, I am so curious on where that's going. And like every time something happens with Theodric, I'm so pumped for it. I hope he doesn't die.
Oh, it's always great. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it resolves, because like, it's just going well. Jalen's gotten her little moment with Gandalf. Valineth managed to get that van brace back, but he's still out looking for his father. And like Feanor, not that he's directionless, but it's like he hasn't got this greater goal, more what's the word? Like achievable specific thing that he's seeming to go for.
Yeah. But we've learned a lot about him though.
Yes.
Like he was a complete mystery before, but little by little we've gotten to learn a lot more about him.
Definitely great, and I think I've got plenty of screen time in this, especially because of where we are. I know that will shift depending. If we go to Rohan, for example, Theodric's going to be in the limelight a lot more often, and I think that just plays really well. Actually, I'm not sure how intentional it was, but I do like the fact that Valineth, in all of his age and wisdom and his want to heal people and stuff, is a direct counter to Theodric. Not that Theodric is like a horrible person or anything, but he's young, he's naive, he's brash, his emotions control him. Like, he's a force to be reckoned with in just a completely different, brutal way.
It's like Jalen. Yeah, it's like she mentioned the last session when she was talking with Valineth. Like, it's that push and pull. Like, you can't have one without the other, and I think that kind of makes a good rounding force. You know,
definitely. And then even this session, the way Jalen went to comfort Belgo and Feanor was full. We're going into this. Like, all of us are playing off each other, and it doesn't feel jarring. No. It feels like it's our characters reacting realistically around each other, and just because one person is going to be comforting someone, not everyone's going to be like, oh, we need to stop and wait and give him a moment to breathe. It's like, I don't know how Theodric would have dealt with it because we didn't really get to see it, or how Valineth would have. Valineth has been trying to comfort him as well, but in such an intense situation, like how we play off of each other, like our interpersonal relationships. I think it's really good, and we've been able to build on those a lot. Like, almost like you said, a kinship between Feanor and Valineth, but then there's also like a warrior kind of brother bond between with Theodric, and then like a softer side with Jalen being able to like talk with intellectual conversations and explore things, and even being able to relate a little, both being like descended from like nobles essentially, and trying to find their way in the world.
It's really awesome, and I'm super pleased with just how well all of our characters like mesh together without it being like kind of this samey, boring like, oh yes, well I'm a great warrior and you're a great warrior and we're all great warriors and we've experienced everything.
We're not all just Aragorn. Right?
Like, it's far from it. In fact,
I will say, like, in the sessions too of Adventures in Middle-earth that I've seen, I think a lot of people have like an idea of what Tolkien is, and like that's my job, to make this world the world of Tolkien. But you are creating individual characters, real characters to exist. I'm not talking about like characters from like our like Earth, like within the context of Middle-earth, but like dealing with things rationally in human ways. Where in the sessions that I've seen so many people just like, this is the trope of character that I'm playing because it's Lord of the Rings. My character is going to be Legolas. My character is going to be Aragorn. My character is going to be Frodo. And so like they like play that, and then like you said, it gets boring and samey. And so like for me, you guys are enjoying this and the play off each other. Like I'm having a ball. I'm just sitting here just like, wow, this is amazing. I'm gonna let this play out. I have plans. We're already like 15 sessions behind where I thought we were going to be at, but it's okay because it's a great time.
I think a perfect example of that is when we're just stopping for camp. Most nights you'd be like, yeah, you do watch, do your rolls, okay, nothing happens. Oh, this thing, you hear a sound. But it's like every second night we're having like these big, deep conversations and like learning more and more. Yeah, how many days are we in deep into the wood?
23 or 24, I believe.
And I feel like we know each other better than we did after spending an entire winter with each other, pretty much.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
It's good. And just for you guys wondering about Theodric's backstory and where it's heading, I don't know either, because I've left the majority of it up to Kyle. I've given him a vague, like, here's what he's dealing with, and then I've just let go of the wheel and Kyle's handling it. So I'm a little bit as baffled as you guys are.
A little bit behind the curtain for everyone else. When you make your character, you can choose like, oh yeah, here's what their backgrounds is. Like Feanor being a woodwright, that's like a thing that it's because of his past he can do that, or he's got some other things going on regarding the shadow and stuff like that. So it's like that there's specific things you can choose. Is that something that came up, I think, when you were creating Theodric?
I chose the doomed to die background.
Which is why you were having those visions and stuff, right? Yeah, yep. Like the one in your session 0.
Yep. He's having these prophecies that he's going to die. Maybe it'll come true. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll lead to something completely different. That's it. That's all I know. and I've left the rest of it to Kyle, and we'll see where the dice rolls and where our DM takes it. Like, it's honestly so exciting and thrilling as a player character to like maybe you have a general vague idea of like, here's my character's goals and here's how they're going to do that, and like that kind of stuff. Like Valineth has this goal of, I want to find my father, or at least find out what happened to him. But Theodric, much like Feanor, doesn't have any like end game, like, here's the thing that once I do it my quest is done, right? His basically right now he's like, I want to figure out how to deal with this blood rage, and I want to know, like, what's with this? What's with the prophecy? Like, should I ignore it? Like,
I specifically like the fact that you expect a lot of people in D&D to have a very different like range of people in their party. Like, you'll have like your ranger, you'll have your fighter, you'll have your healer, you'll have your rogue. But we've got a healer. What's the equivalent? It's like a bard, essentially, and then 2 slayers.
Warden.
Dain. So Valineth is the scholar, which is the equivalent to a cleric / wizard. The Theodric and Feanor are the equivalents to barbarians.
Basically barbarians.
And then Jalen is the bard.
Yeah, the warden.
Yeah, warden.
But it's so good, even with how we've gone about flavoring. Like, the fact that Theodric has like a horrible blood rage that overcomes him and can be very much to his own detriment. Like, I can just imagine a million situations where it's going to get out of control. More than just going up and killing someone who is already going to be killed. Right. And I don't know. It's interesting. Even trying to get into the mindset of, I'm a young character by the perspective of his world. His horizons have been broadened by spending time with others, but now he identifies more with Theodric than he does Valineth. He doesn't feel like the few like elves of old that he has met, like they feel foreign to him in a similar way that Valineth does, but not. He can still kind of relate to Valineth. But Theodric is like this like great warrior from his land who has bested Feanor himself in contests and combat, and they've trained with each other and like gone through all so much that it's like, like I said before, almost like a brotherly kind of warrior bond. But actually, specifically with what you were saying, we don't have a goal in mind. It's like at least for Feanor, he kind of views it as a never-ending quest to try and combat the shadow, and he's very well aware that one day he'll probably die from it, and he'll be taken off to the Greylands, and one day he will meet Valineth again, but he probably won't meet anyone else. It's like, I think at this point in history, no one other than an elf and like the Maiars have ever been to the Greylands, and very few are ever let there. It's like with like Frodo and the Ring Bearers and stuff. So it's like I think there'll be some comfort in there if either Valineth or Feanor die, with like almost like gripping each other's hands, saying like, I'll see you on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's something that's very unique about like elves in general. I think they can be a little bit more introspective about life because of that. They know that that's what's coming in the end, right? And I think
question.
Yeah, and whereas Valineth, I think, being a high elf, especially one of Rivendell, I think something that is very hopeful for the party. Again, choosing that specific kind of elf was intentional because Valineth, like, high elves take upon a lot of woe. They have a trait called Beset by Woe, which means that when they get shadow points, and they get permanent shadow points, or what is it?
So they gain shadow points every time they attempt to heal shadow points. They keep a 1 point of permanent shadow.
Yeah. So like, it can never be completely healed off of them. So because of their long lifespan, they're that, but they're also very much like susceptible to it. So I chose that in particular because I felt like it'd be very helpful for the party, but also so like it could be like a self-sacrificing kind of light to the party as well. Because again, especially in darkness, high elves give off kind of like a radiance, and give off a specific kind of light. And I know that there's probably going to be a lot of darkness and a lot of shadow we're going to be encountering. And yes, that might lead to be Valineth being kind of a beacon in himself, but hopefully he can learn to be a hero through that as well. So
it's actually very much a kind of character that you only really get glimpses of in the actual like Tolkien universe. You
Yeah,
don't really
yeah.
you'll see Elrond or whatever, but very rarely do you ever see him do anything like outside of Rivendell. Like you have a brief flashback to when he was younger, and maybe this like great lord, even like in like wartime, or you see Gandalf as this blinding beacon of light. But very rarely do you ever get into the nitty gritty of that person and those other people in the world.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really especially with what you said, it's a really interesting, unique way of approaching it.
Yeah. Well, especially with someone like mortals like Theodric, who's a human, obviously, and Jalen, who's a human. Like I'm sure elves in that kind of way, in that kind of thing, are very, very difficult to not see necessarily, but are very rare in a sense. And so hopefully if it can provide a little bit of hope and a little bit of light to the party. I mean, that's why I made him a healer and not like a crazy combat person.
That's what I'm for.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's a passive sort of beacon of hope potentially, but he's not going to be like shining super well in combat. Like honestly, the fact that he won that archery contest back in Dale was a complete fluke.
No, it's not. It's the fact that you've lived for 777 years, and archery is something that you do on the daily.
That's true. Okay.
For sport.
All right.
Yeah.
True. But never a combat.
Here's the thing. That's one thing here. Like, and no, you shot an eye out of it, dude. Like, perfect headshot.
Yeah.
You're good. You're good. But like one thing, like, and this will be the last thing that we say before moving on.
Yeah.
But
we've been here for too long.
Yeah, no worries. But I will say, like, I love how all the dice rolls have been. Like, for example, like I think this is the perfect example of that. Like at the very end of the session, when Feanor rolls that natural one on the survival to track. No, seriously.
Oh, you saw
like,
that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he said, but like, seriously, the fact, and he was just like, guys, like, can someone give me, and like everyone was like throwing in like the like roll d16, like I need inspiration, I need 2,000 more points for it, like these things. I'm like, I'm gonna tell you something. Fate's speaking. Like the dice are speaking for themselves. Like you could have maybe found him, tracked him down, had dealt with his crazy, but now you have an even more exciting like delve into Mirkwood. Yes, it's dangerous and all these situations happening, but this is what makes the game fun and exciting. You can't always avoid danger in every way, you know. And so, like, you've done everything that you can, everything in your power, exhaust everything that you can, yet still it's not enough. There's something exciting about that. And the fact that, like, that's what's so great about these tabletop RPGs is no matter how strong, no matter how powerful your character is, there's always a chance to flub the roll. And you know what? Sometimes it's for the best. But we'll see how that goes. So it's really neat being able to see that and being able to have the inspiration when it's important. So it's good.
Are you ready to go to Gundabad and face your demons, Theodric?
Hopefully not literal demons.
Not for a while yet, I think.
I love it.
Come on, let's go confront your fate. Let's go punch it in the face.
I don't think we'll be doing that at level 2.
Dain, quickly, can you wrap up as far as stream schedule stuff, and then also what's it called? Dice Snacky. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back.
Yep, no problem. All right, guys. So we do only have one more stream this week. So tomorrow, 7 p.m. Japan Standard Time, we will be continuing our playthrough of Tears of the Kingdom on my side of the channel. Kyle will be continuing his playthrough Monday and Wednesday in the morning at 8 a.m. and start next week. So those are like our normal daily streams, I guess. We come back with Adventures in Middle Earth weekly. Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Japan Standard Time is when we do Adventures in Middle Earth every week. So come join us for that, especially if you enjoy Tolkien or tabletop RPGs, in particular Dungeons and Dragons. So come join us for that. It's awesome. It's really cool. No Saturday stream. So Cole from Cole Forge Great Max as well as Max, they're both moving this weekend. And for the foreseeable future, Cole will be moving down to Florida. So they're not going to be streaming at all. However, not this weekend, not next weekend, but the weekend after that, we're going to be having Everlast Adventures session 24 or 25. I can't remember what it is. It's our original tabletop RPG. Kyle, the lore master, is actually the creator of the game. And so it's awesome. It's a kind of our original content here, and we should be having a new character. Ikari, who's in the chat, is going to be one of the main characters in it.
Wait, when did you say that's going to be?
In 2 weeks, not next week.
So that is
3
going
weeks.
to be
The 12th, right?
The 14th of July.
14th of July is when it's going to be. So come join us for that. But this weekend and next weekend, most likely nothing, unfortunately. However, we do have weekly streams and whatnot. And then our wonderful sponsor, Dice Snacky. They are a Japanese sweets and luxury treats company, small family business centered in Tokyo, Japan. And they sell Japanese sweets and luxury treats. They currently have 2 boxes, unless that's changed. I haven't looked in like a week or so. But they have their omakase box and their kawaii box. Omakase boxes are just random Japanese snacks you can get from different grocery stores or konbinis here. Their kawaii boxes are more character-themed goods. They also have their themed boxes, which include Disney, Sanrio, Pokemon, and Nintendo. And all of those come with a specific item, snacks that are themed, but also come with a specific item from the specific store through the end of June, which I guess there's only 2 more days left in June. If you buy their Nintendo box, you will get Tears of the Kingdom exclusive stuff, including the Nintendo Dream magazine, which is the exclusive Tears of the Kingdom version of it, which comes with some pretty cool posters. If you're a Fire Emblem fan, it comes with a Fire Emblem, the newest Fire Emblem game poster, which is pretty cool. Engage, yeah. Fire Emblem Engage poster in it, as well as some Tears of the Kingdom stuff, as well as another Nintendo item on top of that. Free international shipping, regardless, and make sure to mention that Forge sent you on checkout. And if you mention that Forge sent you on checkout, then you also get some sweet coupons to use in your future purchases. And also, it helps out us as a channel quite a bit. And we get, if you mention your username in particular, then when we have our raffle for
Twitch
referral Twitch username, your referral raffles, you get extra tickets and stuff to use towards getting a free omakase box, which we will have a stream where we'll be giving that away. And I think we're really, really close. So so continue, guys, if you like. It's pretty cool. Free international shipping, that can't be understated with how expensive shipping is from Japan. So it's pretty cool.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and leave you guys there. Thank you for staying with us, and may the road go ever onward and onward. Bye.
Bye, everyone.